Boop. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to I am as ever your host, the Lore Runner. It was specific. We were supposed to stream this about a week and a half ago, but it was specifically requested that we wait until the 21st, which it is now the 21st, and of course the person who requested that is not here. But nevertheless, this game was funded and put together by Divi191919, Mike 12192, Ace, Trihexia, Catman Man Manson, Fringe Philosopher, Mr. Red, Hediori, Guinevere, Rit, Doomrider, Watsam, Nami, Tizara, Shone, and of course the person who put this on the books, as well as our majority shareholder, Alex Korbianiki. Thank you, all of you, for keeping the lights on. Yeah, so as I think I already mentioned, I don't even know what genre this is, so this should be fun. Let me make sure to not accidentally start playing Mega Man music. That would be an accident. I know, an accident, wink, wink. But no, really, I'm trying not to do that. There we go. Yeah, no idea what to expect. No idea anything. We'll see. I don't remember when this came out. I think it was 2018, 2019, something like that. This is one of those games that mutes when y'all tab, which we all know how much I hate those. Yep, nope, that's the worst. Why do games do that? At least make it an option. God. Hang on, sorry, I'm lining up some of my windows here. There we go. That feels a little loud to me. It still feels a little loud. It does have saxophones, which means I may die in the process of reviewing this game. We'll try that. Okay, so new game.
Paradise Killer.
Okay. You'll soon enter a paradise where fact and truth are not the same. Isn't that true in real life? Explore paradise in your own way and find your own truth. Paradise Killer has a wealth of accessibility options. Please tailor the experience to best suit your needs. Paradise Killer does not autosave. You must use save points. Saving a record of your existence is free and easy and leads to a happier paradise. The Syndicate created the first Paradise Island to worship their dead alien gods. Guided by leader Montserrat, the Syndicate attempted to resurrect the gods by forcing citizens into psychic worship rituals. However, the worships invited demonic corruption from beyond the stars. The islands always fail. The islands die and a new Paradise Island is reborn. The cycle repeats. That sounds horrible. Island Sequence 13. Lady Love dies. The Syndicate's lead investigator is deceived by the god Damned Harmony. She endangered Paradise. Her sentence is eternal exile. The island could not be saved. Demonic corruption began to infect the fabric of Paradise. The island died. The citizen slaughter ritual took place. Another Paradise Island failed. The cycle always repeats. Lady Love dies, watching from exile in the idle lands as each island flourished and died. Each iteration got closer to perfection. Demonic corruption events decreased. Island 24 was almost perfect, until Henry Division, a lowly citizen, got too close to the gods. He allowed demons to flood the island. The citizens were once again slaughtered. The council began their meditation to end 24 and birth perfect 25. But before they could complete it, Paradise was killed. Yeah, can you see the mouse? Let's just do this. Nope, no mouse. Okay, cool. We're in the 25th island sequence. Ha ha ha! Hee 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 hee. The crime to end all crimes. This blend tastes different. The islands define the whiskey. This one definitely tastes of embers. She put the fire out. Was it a cosmic dream? No. They called on her the exile. They called on her... Yeah, I was going to say, are there going to be some racist corgis in this? They needed to. Oh, Jesus, I'm glad I took a pain pill this morning. Actually, I'm not. I hate having to take a pain pill, but this is one of those wake up with a headache days. Born at the longest tower, Britain, in AD 1000, under the sign of Kiss Me to the Moon. Are they just throwing words at the screen? Is that what's happening here? I can do that too. Monkey jelly banana fish. One moment. Yeah, that's what I figured. Meh. Okay. The Syndicate's lead investigator. Period. After the damned Harmony incident on Island 13, the Paradise Psycho unit was shut down, and Love Dies was exiled to the Idle Lands as punishment.
Another day in exile.
You know, I was going to forgive the fact that you have a short glove on your right hand, a long glove on your left hand. And I actually even like the coat you've got, the double layer coat thing going on. But, that belt. Something's wrong. I can feel it. Island 24 is supposed to be ending. Why am I still here?
I have a bad feeling about this.
Oh, God, it's infrequent voice acting. I'm just going to jot down that negative now. Oh, God, you're right. She's a WWE champion. That makes this a much more interesting story immediately. I wasn't expecting this. The outside of the Paradise Psycho unit before it was disbanded. The last photo was taken of me back on Island 13. But yeah, no, I would rather have... There's a jump on. I would rather have no voice acting, or all voice acting, than intermittent voice acting. I've said that many times, and I will continue saying it. I think the first time I encountered that was all the way back in Neverwinter Nights. Days since you were exiled. Anybody feel like doing the math on that? What? Lady Love dies.
You?
The first person you've spoken to in 3 million days. Can you taste it in the air? What is wrong with your... everything? Don't make me repeat myself. This feels like it's going to be a bad day. Yeah, tell me about it. Cool it, Love Dies. You're getting a call. Oh. You're in for a treat. You used to be the Syndicate's investigator, right? They're talking about you down there. They need the investigation, freak. Time to get back in the saddle. Get out of the Idle Lands and get back to work. Exile's over.
Why?
Why is a demon in the Idle Lands? Name's... You can call me Shinji. I'm just here to hang. I got no horse in this race. What race? Someone made a move against the Syndicate. People are betting on the wrong horses. What do you want? Just tell me you could call me Shinji. I like a good bit of murder. It's a good time. The best time. I'm just here to watch the results play out. You got some solving to do, some investigating, some looking real hard, some good thinking. Time to weave some truth, Love Dies. Anyway, I gotta bounce. Go get your laptop. You're gonna need it. See you on the island. I have no idea what's going on. Little Runt said I need to find my laptop. He must mean Starlight. Oh my god, Starlight glimmers in this game? Starlight's by the barrier that overlooks the island. Thank you for telling me that. So, listen, I'm curious. Are we in Warhammer? Because... Oh, I have no idea, Ect. I haven't even fired it up yet. Nor do I plan to anytime soon. Hell, I haven't fired up Arceus at this point. Okay, so why do we have really ugly statues around our place? Coffee doesn't taste the same if you're not working. Citation needed. A well-read book about an ex-gangster that decides to become a master of grilled chicken skewers. Yeah, no, this is already reminding me of that type of game that I don't like on the face of it, because it's a little bit too weird. Just weird. Not a big fan of weird. Never have been.
That's strange. Why?
It's supposed to be a good 12-hour game, I want to say, Bleacherfall. We'll see. 1,000,000 days and now she's calling to me.
Key item obtained.
This one's Mega RAM enhanced. Yeah, Suda51, that's a good way to call it. I'm not a big fan of Suda51. Oh. It's okay, the ancient nightmare technology emulation has been established.
What the hell?
A phone call from Judge is unexpected.
Lady Love dies.
Are you gonna finish your sentence? That happened a long time ago. The council were murdered as the new island was born.
What the hell?
Is this a prank? Leader Montserrat is dead. The council are dead. This is no joke. Killer tried to take everything from us. The syndicate's about to collapse.
I'm glad to be back.
You need an investigator and you're in luck. My diary is pretty empty today. Lady Love dies. I have authorized the use of Starlight. Take her and come to the island. Your exile is over. The prison doors are open. That is absolutely not an Imperial Judge.
Like this.
The
The
door
weird.
of truth will open.
Fall down to us and breathe life back into paradise. You want to just fall to the island? The islands haven't changed. The fall won't hurt you. Step off the abyss and drop to the island. Lydia will be waiting for you.
Life back into paradise.
Okay. Game, you have officially lost me. See, the thing is, it obviously depends on individuals. No, Evo! But, I shouldn't react so strongly. It's just that's... No. Don't put that crap in my setting. So, yeah, I like quirky. You know, I like Earthbound, for example. But this isn't quirky. This is I'm doing drugs currently. And I don't like I'm doing drugs currently games or shows or books. Yeah, I like Undertale, but there's a very ironically grounded nature to Undertale. And again, it's quirky. It's not weird. And again, what's weird is going to depend on the individual and but already this is over a line for me. So we're going to do the best we can with this.
Nightmare computer.
A nightmare computer from the depths of space that uses a language born on a long dead world. Yep, hang on. Let me just get my drugs ready. Oh yeah, there we go. Okay, I'm ready. I'm ready for the stream. I'm ready. Let's do it. Let's do it. Yeah. Starlight can emulate the OS and break down the components used in the symbols. Oh, is this a puzzle? This is a puzzle. Yep, nope, this game makes perfect sense. I have consumed one drug.
Nightmare computer unlocked.
Hieroglyphics takes me back to university. I was the only one that in that arcane texts class.
Got it.
Looks like the language is divided into different groupings of symbols for different types of objects the civilization found important. Most of the Syndicate can't decode these. They have keys coded to specific machines they're allowed to access. Who are you talking to?
Got it.
The data on the Nightmare computers is tamper-proof, sealed machines that hook into the fabric of the island. There'll be more on the island that I can unlock. Judge said they need me down on the island. People exit. We're going to read a little bit more. My pace for a second. Alright. Why would you... Well, there's the island. I want to go there. Also, I don't know if you can tell, but the reticule is a heart. Hell, I talked to myself, and I haven't had more than, like, 5 minutes of isolation.
Paradise Killer.
Oh, that's what we're playing. Rose. Here. Dead Nebula. Okay. Hey, Savicum, coffee doesn't taste the same if you're not working. Yes, I'm here. If you suspect demonic corruption, report it. But that's a goat lady. An uncomfortably endowed goat lady. Are you two-dimensional? So, that is a three-dimensional car with a two-dimensional lady standing in front of it. In most games, I would assume that's a limitation of time or budget or even an artistic choice, but what do you want to bet that's in lore in this one? Lydia, it's been too long.
Glad you're back, LD.
Lydia Daybreak.
Your oldest friend. Thanks for telling me that. Born in Wana Falls, Kenya in AD 1001 under the sign of the Beautiful Spectre, Syndicate's fairy woman, responsible for transporting Syndicate to new island sequences. After an uninteresting childhood spent in worship of Beautiful Spectre, she enlisted in the army during her teens. Lydia became known as Titan Killer after she successfully defended a temple complex from 3 monstrosities born from beyond the stars. You know what, I don't even care. She retired from World of Assassination when she met Sam Daybreak. Okay, the only thing I like about all this is the names. The names of people. Am I the only one who thinks real-life names are just a little bit too boring? I mean, there's nothing wrong with a name like, you know, Amanda or... I can't think of anything all of a sudden. But, like, a name like Daybreak just sounds kind of cool, you know?
Ooh, the investigator is here.
I mean, her name is Love Dies, for God's sakes.
Why?
Lord Runner is one of the most boring names I've ever come up with. That's my real name is... Any questions? I've been in exile for 3 million days. She obviously thinks I need a refresher. Oh yeah, Zethmias. What did I
Evil
miss?
stuff, LD. Last night was a killer.
Literally. The council were killed just as the next island was born. Word is a killer got into their building and took a knife to them. One of these days you'll actually spell it right, Evo. I keep waiting for it to happen someday.
How?
How are you feeling? Messed up, LD. This is the worst. The island needs an investigator. And a sanity check, I think. I need the Borg to show up and just kind of enforce some order on this place. You shouldn't have been exiled, LD. We needed you down here. Judge told me to bring you to them. Was it you? Oh god, those poses. Jacques! Are you the killer? Can we wrap this up quickly? No, you're right. The Borg would look at this place and be like, yeah, no.
I'm messing with you.
Straight into investigating. Now is partway through a drop-off at Paradise Gates. You can check the logs. One thing before we go. I can ferry you around the island. Save your feet from a hike. So if you need a pickup, call me on the phones. The phones are deactivated, so you'll need to fire them up again. I already activated this phone for you.
Ferrywoman reporting for duty.
Oh, dear, I couldn't read that quickly. Seatbelts on. I was exiled. Where are we driving? 3 million days just flies past. Cheer up, Buttercup. You're back on the island now. Back in the game. Up to me to find out the truth. Criminal to catch a criminal. An investigator to catch a criminal. I'm a treasure hunter. Thank you very much. I'm messing with you. I don't think you're all bad. You got deceived by a god and let him conspire to kill the entire syndicate. No biggie. We don't have any investigators except you. No offense. You've had 8,000 years to iterate on this frickin' island, and you never came up with another investigator. I think I've identified the problem already. I like your perfume, by the way. It smells like... Hang on, hang on. Pop quiz. What's the weirdest, most psychedelic LSD drug thing you could think of for what her perfume smells like? Hang on. It smells like dolphins vomiting over the rainbow's reticule. There we go. There's my answer. Oh, thanks. Fruity. Oh, it's just fruity. That's it? I'm disappointed. It's nice. I'll get some on the next island. Sorry, LD. The blend is my own secret rainbow. I mean, recipe. I like rainbow better. We're almost there. Go and speak to Judge. If you want to hang, I'll be on the pier. It's been so long since I performed an investigation. You're getting the fire back? It never left. I was born to investigate. I did take a drug earlier, Luke. Black hole infused with pomegranate. I think we have a winner. Oh, God, I hated that about Disco Elysium. Now, Obra Dinn was fine. Zalanerm does actually have an M in it. Spyro, whenever we beat this game, Savacom, we'll see the specifics. I don't want to know what that is, so we're just going to move on. We're going to pretend we never saw it. So, let's pause in the LSD drug trip for just a second. Let's do a little analysis. So, is this game going to get a plus for brickwork? Well, there's the textures. However, there's an interesting architectural style that it's trying to get across. I'm sure you've noticed it already. I actually don't know my terminology, so I have no idea what to call this. But it is definitely trying to make things look unique. And I've noticed that all 3 zones we've been in so far have each looked distinctly separate. Yeah, I noticed that the sun is actually moving right there, and it is actually causing the shadows to move as well, so... woo. Is this Art Deco? Again, I don't know terminology. I'm not good at that.
Ha.
We've got not bad doodad placement, so I'm not going to give a negative for doodads. I've seen better, though. We'll see what other areas look like. What I find most strange is the color choice. So it's not bland, because I've seen much more bland games before. Instead, it's 80s, I think, is what I'm going to refer to that as. You notice there's a whole lot of pinks, violets, golds, and all on a contrast of whites. And that is just... look at it. Look at it. I have to talk to this thing, don't I?
Hello, Judge.
Birthplace. Forgotten. Birth sign. Forgotten. Every society needs a form of justice, and a syndicate member volunteered. They believed so deeply in impartial justice, they scrubbed their ego and fused themselves to the island, becoming judge. I am the law. This is extremely not the time to do that, Savacom, but if you want to, we could do it now. I mean, a moment of silence for this lost actor during this nonsense? You have cables coming out of your elbow and shoulder. Also, everything else that's wrong with you. Starlight is helping you navigate through the Sea of Truth already.
Judge.
Paradise requires power and sacrifice, but mostly power. So, what bothers me the most about this visage is not any of the obvious things. I want you to look, you can't see my mouse. I want you to look at their right leg and how much it looks deformed and smaller. Like, it's literally smaller than their arms.
Welcome back to the blood-stained paradise, Lady Lovedyes.
The investigator is here.
Oh my god. Yeah, I wasn't even going to comment on the fact that the joints, both of them, ow, are wrong. That was my hip. Thank you, Gregorius. I do always appreciate those subs. Thank you. If you want to put that towards something in particular, please let me know. It's got to be on purpose, right? I mean, everything here is supposed to look inhuman and weird and creepy and awkward and disgusting, so surely that's on purpose.
Paradise killer.
The council are dead. That doesn't feel like correct grammar. Our leader's gone. The black pall of crime hangs over us. Leader Montserrat has been taken from us.
What the hell?
The whole council were murdered at once? Again, that does not feel like correct grammar. That's true. The fairy woman looks fine. And honestly, we don't look terrible either. They gathered to birth the new island, our perfect new home. Perfect 25. At the end of their meditation, the Krilla struck. Arrogance put the council in one room. Hubris is a large gap in armor. If you're a murder junkie, that's quite the hit.
What time?
Midnight, the holy hour, the hour of weird, the hour of... Judge, I get it. All the council were murdered last night at midnight. Do you have a suspect? It's a miracle, a mass murderer in custody. Henry Division. See? That's like kind of a boring name, Henry. But then you make it cool by adding Division. Who are you? I am Brock Division, Max Colt Powers, Esquire. Like, come on, spice it up a little. This is why people should be grateful that I don't have children, so I can't name them terrible, terrible names. Who are you? Lord Division. A citizen possessed by a demon. He's killed before, a decade ago. He came back. We found the knife in his hand. The council's blood in his stomach. Gross.
I'm glad to be back.
The oppressed rise up. Who'd have thought?
Where?
Where's the crime scene? The council's own penthouse. The brutalist tower that reaches to the sky. Has anyone been there?
Investigate.
The councils are protected by 4 holy seals. Holy divers. Only our leaders can open them. We cannot get to the crime scene. We cannot assess the slaughter.
How?
How'd the killer get it?
Truth waits for you in the shadows.
Truth hides behind the smoke of crime. We only know the nature of the first Holy Seal. 2 of the finest God Justice Marshals. Stationed as guards, as sentinels. Both butchered by the monster. Demonic sigils cover the suspect's body, scorched to him by astral demon inside of him. Those same sigils are daubed in Marshall's blood at the entrance to the council
Don't test
building.
me.
I'm having trouble reading this. This is so unusual in sentence structure. Thank you, Don. Okay, be honest, Don. If you could eat Japanese food every day, would you? Like, from Japan. I meant to ask you that the other night. I forgot to. Yeah, there is a lot of empty text here. Listen, you gotta do drugs, okay? It's just one... I'm out of drug. Wait, I've got it! Get the... What do you call this crap? What is this stuff called? The compressed gas stuff, you know? And just be like... I don't want to actually do it. There we go. There we go. Oh, yeah. That's the stuff. There we go. Ahem. So how do you know they're dead if you can't reach the crime scene? Their work is done. A new island has been born. Let me read this out loud exactly as it's written. Their work is done. A new island has been born yet. Jesus Christ. Structure. Grammar. Okay, hang on. Hang on. If no one has been in the crime scene, comma, how do you know the council are dead? Their work is done, comma, a new island has been born, yet they have not emerged from their chambers. There we go. Jesus. The accused was found with a red slick knife and a belly full of blood. You said that literally already.
Investigate.
In this instance, the answer to a terrifying question is dreadful murder.
Oh.
I'm going to assume there are no eyewitnesses if it's a locked room murder. None that have come
Why?
forward. Why would someone decapitate the syndicate now? Is it an interloper, a god, a desire of power? Nah, it's Bob from accounting. Bob was just like, you know, I'm the only one in this crazy world named Bob. And I hate it. And I'm going to kill the people who gave me this name. And he just goes for him, you know. So is this a naked ambition played out with a knife in a penthouse? A power play, a sicko killing for kicks. The world's a twisted place. It wouldn't surprise me. The balance has existed for millennia.
Who?
Who's running the show now? I installed architect Carmelina as acting leader. We have birthed Perfect 25, a wonderful new home of her design. She is best placed to oversee this transition. So she's obviously the killer. Stefan Hazardous. Or, hang on. Something like, Stilgarius? No, that doesn't sound right. Seventh Reticule. There you go, Hazardous. As bizarre as this vision of crime is, there is further anomaly. Just one? You remember KHX? Oh, yeah. Master Craftsman. What about him? He is missing. We haven't had any contact with him. Well, he's the killer, obviously. New note. This is doubly concerning as he designed the second holy seal that protects the council.
Sure.
Is he a potential killer? If you can track the right truth through the darkened forest of secrecy, you might be able to prove it. So I asked a yes or a no question, and your response to a yes or no question was, if you can track the right truth through the darkened forest of secrecy, you might be able to prove it.
Lady Love dies.
Yes? Listening. Lady Love dies. It's been a while since we needed you. The Syndicate is in danger. You're in danger. Unspoken things beyond the stars are in danger. The island will not give up its secrets easily.
Is paradise?
What is the truth? What are the facts? Are they the same? Evidence, testimony, they are yours to find, yours to take. We must find who did
Crime
this.
cannot hide.
Crime always wants to be found. The nature of crime is perverse. Starlight has the blood records of the council. I have just updated Starlight with a blood sample of Henry as well. Use them to examine the murder weapon, the crime scene. I need this solved so we can move on to the new island. A suspect isn't enough. I need concrete proof. All right, so if you want concrete proof, execute everyone who's a suspect, and then you will have concretely proven that all of those people, of all those people, one of them was the killer, and all of them have been dealt with. Done. I am linked to Starlight, a conduit of justice. Oh, that explains the cabling. She will track your case files. She just unlocked her suspect module. She has a suspect module?
Investigate.
Investigate, interrogate, find the gold evidence in the silt of the island. When you are ready, bring them to me and we begin the trials. The concrete. There's a lot of concrete around here. Smash, smash. The trials will determine the guilty. Assemble your facts and present a truth to me. You may not understand your truths. Bring them to trial. We will reveal the guilty together and attain clarity. We can start the trials whenever you're ready.
Truth waits for you.
So I can do it right now?
The journey into truth and justice.
I'm sorry. I'm reading at my pace, but I just realized I should probably read this out loud because this is ridiculous. When love dies, all that remains are the facts. Which isn't even a sentence that communicates anything. Like, that's like saying, when the purple monkey dishwasher dies in the distance, there is nothing left but the bubbles. Like, you're not actually saying anything. No information is being conveyed here. A duel across the sun-drenched streets between the investigator and the truth. Paradise Island is yours. Prime details received. Da-da-da-da. You have a cell called the Desolation Cell. Oh, that sounds like a great idea, Mike Kamano. So these people are slavers and no. Right. I'm cool with different names, but I draw the line at making your last name a number. Grand Marshal Akiko 14 was guarding him. Council murdered. Henry's found outside the council building by Akiko. Akiko, who is the murderer, informs witness that Henry has been found and the first seal guards are murdered. Akiko confirms to witness holy seals are closed. She cannot secure the penthouse. Judge assumes authority over the island, locks the Paradise Gate. Judge is the killer. Syndicate meeting is held in the courtroom. Judge appoints Carmelina, who is the killer, as acting leader. Judge decrees they are bringing Lady Love Dies out of exile. Full investigation will happen before the island ends. Judge activates Starlight and waits for Lady Love Dies to make contact. Crime details end.
Key item obtained.
Is it a key to the past? Key to the future? Key to your heart? Key to the truth? I mean, real talk. Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my god. That's dizzifying. This is what the night looks like here. Okay. Okay, we're okay. We're okay. Aurora Borealis! At this time of year and this location. Can I help you? A moment of your time. What?
I hate demons.
Does anybody not hate demons? Don't answer that. Why, Green Wolf? Why? I understand you've got a lot on your plate. A mass murder on an island full of weirdos and all that. Says the thing.
I have a bad feeling about this.
You know the blood crystals, that currency you guys are so precious about? I took the liberty of acquiring some while everyone was leaving.
That's illegal.
Sounds like you stole a lot of people's money. Not people. Rich people. Scrum! Soulless bastards. I've decided I like Shinji. Anyway, you'll need some currency to make it through this. Grease the wheels and all that. Point is, I've scattered blood crystals around the island for you to find. A little game, but a little fun game. You'll need currency, right? Bribe a secret out of everyone here. Bottle of whiskey there. You know.
I don't like this.
You and I have different definitions of fun. Potatoes, tomatoes.
That's not right.
Catch you later. It's okay, because we've got pink fish. Thank you, Green Wolf. I do appreciate, very much so. Thank you. If you want to put that towards something, please let me know. Oh, hey, the moon's coming. I'm just gonna not look at the sky, I think. I think it's the right move. Hey, look, a blood crystal. Why is everything 2D?
Blood crystal obtained.
So whose blood are they? You know what? I don't want to know the answer to that, do I? It's probably something weird. It's like we stole an eye drop from the moon's tears and crystallized it within the Earth's crevice. And that's what the blood's from. And it's like, okay, that's cool. Let's save while we're here.
Game saved.
It costs a blood crystal to unlock fast travel. That's good to know.
Starlight skins obtained.
Justice, 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 justice. Hogwarts Legacy, you got it. Do we have a release window for that, by the way? I only saw that it was coming out, later. It's a good question. Melkor played. Hogwarts Legacy. Let's do it. Ah, next year. Early next year. Nice. What am I looking at? Why are there these purple statues of things everywhere? Why can't I break them? Smash, smash, smash. Okay, so let's drop the humorous facade for 1 millisecond here.
Relic obtained.
There have been games before I have either avoided or initially avoided because I thought they were going to be weird. We have even streamed a couple of games which I thought were going to be weird and they actually weren't. I don't think this is going to be one of those. I think this game is actually weird. I don't know, I get a vibe, you know? Yeah, Valhalla is actually a good example of a game I thought was going to be weird, and actually Valhalla was awesome. By the way, I highly recommend you play Valhalla. It's a good game. I mean, it's a visual novel, so it doesn't have that much game to it, but it's still legit, and I still highly recommend it. And I'm still making it canon in the extant. Kind of. Hello.
The investigator, I presume.
So... Okay, I'm with the hair. The skull mask is weird. The lipstick on the skull mask is unnecessary. But what I want to know is why do you have 2 pizza pies glued infrequently to your skull?
The investigator is here. Those are facts, but are they the truth?
Just because you couldn't see me doesn't mean I wasn't there before.
What the hell?
You know what I also love is when they have voice clips that don't actually say what they're saying on the screen. I get it, I get it. It's the generic response thing. But at least for real made a bit of sense for stuff like this.
My new name is one last kiss.
No thank you. Who's getting the kiss? Who deserves my last kiss? What kind of kiss is it?
What mysteries are
Is it a kiss of
around?
love, a tender and sweet grammar, or a sweet, oh my god, or a kiss of death dripping with poison and hate? When you look around this island, what do you see?
Is this a fact?
Enough with the questions.
or a treat?
Release me immediately. No one's gonna get that reference. I had such big plans for us, investigator. I have a secret. If you can find it, maybe you'll reconsider your attitude. No, I don't think that's happening. Peace. A tower that broadcasts music to the speakers of on the island. Now, knowing this setting, the speakers are actually chipmunks, which are actually made out of pretzels. And they vibrate in a frequency, and that produces the noise. And that's how the music comes out. There's no tape inside.
Music obtained.
New music file added. Edible chipmunks that produce music. Listen, it's easy to understand this game. All you have to do is take a drug. Take one drug. And you're good. I'm curious of something. Hang on. Let's check our accessibility options. Aha! So let's change sprint to toggle. AR to toggle. Meditation to toggle. What does... I gotta know what rotating backgrounds means. Oh, excuse me. We could turn the day-night cycle off completely. Okay, that's better. That controls better. I don't know what genre this game is. And I need to know because I use that for categorization on the review side of things. Has a game ever gotten a positive for weird? Yes. No. No. Yet no. No. I have given games positive for quirkiness, which is why I hesitated there. I have given games positives for tone, for vibe. But weird, well, weird is weird. I don't want that. What's a worship date? I like the name, Crimson Acid. There's an unsent letter to Crimson.
Sure.
Is accusing her of using him to get the secret of the second Holy Seal.
That's strange.
Was Crimson in a relationship with Kris? He says the key is missing. He's going to tell Montserrat that Crimson took it. Why does Crimson want the key to the second Holy Seal? I mean, Steam tends to have terrible, terrible definitions. Oh, he looks interesting. Oh, we have no evidence on anybody right now. Look at this. I'm sorry, that was a lot of inventory. Look at that. So we got the case files, the notes, the actual inventory, including upgrades, population, which is... This is all the people who live on the island? God, this place is hell. There's our timeline. Man's prehistory. Is that... I mean, I guess that's thorough. There's a map. We have a map. Interesting. Skins! Justice, 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 justice. And, of course, music. The broken necklace with an order form. It's her Akiko. She asked her to fix her necklace.
Sure.
Maybe this puts her at the scene of the crime? This is not an open world game. God, stop throwing that title around like it's an analogy that works. Stuffed affairs coarse like an animal's.
That's
Hang on,
weird.
is this goat hair? Did you just say that's weird? Because I think that's what you said about finding goat hair in the home of someone who is a goat. The same color as Crimson's head. Yeah, that just... Actually, an open-world detective game sounds legit. There's no sign of struggle or fighting. There's no blood. If something happened to... What here, was it cleaned up? I mean, how many investigation games exist, period? Okay, so... Believe it or not, so far I've thought of one thing I want to mention on the gameplay axis. I like the sound indicator, and I don't know if you could tell, but it's got directional input to indicate that there's something you can loot. It's a lot of games, I actually talked about this recently with Secret of the Stars. A lot of the games have feedback. In fact, 99.9% of games have feedback because it's a critical element of game design. But games tend to vary how and what they do with it. Oh my god, it was the moon! The moon's the killer. So, I like... most games like this will have like a glow thing, or maybe like a pop-up will show up when you get near something, or whatever. But if you can actually hear that there's a thing nearby, that's another way to do it. And I kind of like the way they do that. So I'll jot down our first gameplay positive for that. Audio indicators. I think I'm also going to give a plus for accessibility options. They're pretty legit. And I do tend to be in favor of those in general.
The investigator is here.
Diary. There's a lot of notes here. A lot of scrawl and technical drawings. They're interspersed with ramblings about ascending to heaven. No kidding, Crazy Norse. He seemed to think he was chosen by the gods. Now, hold up. What? But the... Okay, you know what? I'm going to stop trying to make sense of the world building. He talked about Crimson being his queen in the astral heaven.
What the hell?
What's going on between them? Sex. Now, I know it's been 6 billion years or whatever, but let me explain what sex is to you. It's when two people who hate each other very, very much immediately try to establish a connection of the rainbow between their soul's secondary positive harmonies in order to actually actuate what they try to do with regards to their internal self-replication. Any questions?
Those crystals obtained.
Interesting.
I have a bad feeling about this.
Drag marks leading off the edge of the cliff.
Sure.
They lead away from this workshop. Suspicious. You know what another game is that's quirky and that I enjoy a great deal? Ace Attorney. Think about it. Those games are quirky as hell. They still manage to be pretty legit, though. At least the 3 I've played. Also, this may sound like a strange statement, but the removal of falling damage was actually an inspired choice in a game like this. It adds a degree of freedom of movement. What? 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 Okay. Sometimes the moon smiles at me. No, Trihexia, absolutely not, no. Drink your whiskey. I can feel the one in the Golden City on the dark side of the grinning moon. I've told you before. Don't talk about him. Not on this island sequence. Do not invite disaster. But, drink your whiskey. I don't have whiskey. If we could jump the same height, I would give that a positive on the spot. No joke, because at that point, that's traversal. Bourbon with a nice taste of chocolate and hazelnut. A nice whiskey to have with friends. Do keep in mind your friends are all being monitored. They're watching us. They don't even know they're being watched. Yeah, this is our jump height. This is...
Got it.
Was...
Got
is never been a fan of metaphysicality.
Got it.
I sometimes drank with him. He was quite reserved, but opened up after a beer. Tense guy, focused, obsessive. Yeah, that's not a good thing. What is my... what? Okay, I'm sorry. I misread that for a second, and I thought it said, what is my body telling me?
Scene investigation.
What? Suffered a massive blow to the head. There's blood everywhere. It looks like the skull is cracked. He was struck once, and for his sake, I hope he died immediately. Victims of the attack from the front often know the attacker, so it was probably one of the syndicate. His first fist is gripping something tightly. It's an ornate ring with a deep blue sapphire set into it. Why was he gripping it? Did it belong to the attacker?
Don't test me.
I assume he was dragged here and dumped off the edge of the cliff. This is a secluded spot. There's a ring in his death grip fist. You just... okay. Why is he holding this when he died? Is this a message? It's a gaudy ring with a bright sapphire inset. Rest in peace. I'll find out what happened to you. Oh, I don't know, Evo. I'd probably make that Afterlife's game I keep thinking about making.
Those crystals obtained.
We are apparently water soluble. Where are we? Yeah, I think I know where we are. that's good to know. We're playing GTA in more ways than one. I mean, think about it. Think of the similarities between this and Vice City.
Ha.
Must get the blood.
Blood crystal obtained.
The blood.
Ha.
My god, jumping is kind of crap. Oh, Jesus. Okay. Like, we jump like we've got lead weights tied to our ankles. It's kind of hard to explain. Actually, no, now that I think about it, I can explain it very easily. So you start your jump, but it starts pulling you down almost immediately. What the hell is this? It's traditional to donate let blood in prayer. Why? No, no. Gross. Also, no. I think bunny hopping's actually working. That's funny. Yes, the next game we'll be streaming are Spyro.
Relic obtained.
Stones are arranged on a grid, and players take turns moving to capture the opponent's stone, stacking them. Okay.
Ha.
There's like a beach party. Bunch of blood. Listen, Crazy Norse.
Blood crystal obtained.
There's only one way to become a better swimmer.
Ha.
Yeah, I'll also say one way to make quirky work, and this is true with a lot of different types of things like that. Don't wink at the camera, is how I like to call that. What that means is you should never have the characters or the setting or the tone basically turn to the game to turn to the viewer or turn to the player and say, "Hey, isn't it weird, all this weird stuff that's going on?" Don't do that. You have to completely sincerely present it. It needs to be treated as if it's normal, even banal, to the people in the setting. Yeah, self-awareness ruins quirky. I agree with that completely. So if you're walking along and all of a sudden, like, a mouse walks up and says, "I'd like 5 Cokes, please," the person shouldn't say, "Oh my god, it's a freaking mouse." They should say, "Sure thing. You want any fries with that?" Drink costs crystals. Yeah, no, thank you. Yeah, actually, Leslie Nielsen was the king of this, and that's exactly why. It's why he even got the job, for God's sakes. He really was good at it, too.
Game saved.
Now, to be clear, you can break the fourth wall. That's a thing you can do. But that's different. Breaking the fourth wall isn't quirky. It's breaking the fourth wall. It's its own category over here, right? Deadpool, someone brought in chat, Deadpool is a good example of how to break the fourth wall. Both well and badly, depending on the specifics.
Obtained.
Interesting. What? It's the boarding point for boat trips which go around the island. Sign says the boat rides were shut down by Yuri Knight a few days ago.
Investigator is here.
No reason given. Why would he shut them down early? Oh, that's an interesting reflective graphic. You can see the rain is being reflected in the gold. I don't know if this is Unity. We could check. Hang on, let's see if we can figure that out really quick. So what's a hypothetical, Evo? That sounds funny, Shadow Machine. Okay, so... This is apparently by a British studio. That explains all the crack. Inspired by Franz Kafka, H.P. Lovecraft, and Dangan Ronpa. Yep, can confirm. Help me out here, Evo. Give me an example. You know me, I like examples. I don't think it's going to mention it. Mature content warning. This game covers things such as cursing, crudeness, blood, veiled nudity, suicide, and generally mature content. Got the PC Gamer Best Adventure Game Award of 2020. Oh, no, it was a nominee. That's a shame. Oh, well. Oh, no, it did win that. Sorry. It was nominated for the Indie Game Festival. It was nominated for the Indiecade. It was nominated for this. Oh, God, it was nominated for a lot of stuff. Also, Suicide. Thanks, YouTube. I can't wait until we replace YouTube with QTube. I'm just saying. It's going to be a good day. All right, whatever. I don't know the engine. But, you know what? I have the perfect soundtrack for this game.
Los Crystal obtained. Recording obtained.
The lines stop and start, geometric, crisscrossing the air, but not everywhere. I had a visit from the marshals. They're on to me. I bet it's the guy next door. All it does is feed the fish and gossip. Get a life. I don't remember what it said when it fired up the game, unfortunately. I can restart. I mean, tell me this doesn't fit. Like, legitimately. Tell me this doesn't fit. Normally I like to meme with music choice. Oh my god, the rain stopped! Look, there's no rain. But if we go out a bit, the rain begins. I have the power of the weather! Fascinating. It's an interesting way to deal with it. Some games just let it rain everywhere, you know, indoors and out. Some games do this. Some games are much more complex about this. And admittedly, coding it to properly rain outside but not in an overhang is harder to do than it sounds. So, or at least it used to be. I don't know if it is anymore. I've been looking into Unreal 5.1, and holy crap, that engine is insane. It's the only thing that ever might convince me to pick up the Epic Gaming Store. Just have access to that engine. By the way, fun fact, did you know you need the Epic Gaming Store to access Unreal? So, if I go to that dangerous place, will I die? So...
Relic obtained.
I feel like what you're asking me is, can it be used to run simulations? To which the answer is yes. Oh, insanely good, Dr. Winter. It's... Unreal 5.1 is something that I've been putting some real thought into actually sitting down and learning. Especially since motion capture is something that's getting a lot easier to do. Like, real talk, with a little bit of work, I could set up a motion capture studio in my apartment with tools I already have currently. I wouldn't need to buy anything. So... this looks like a puzzle. And it's exclusive to the Epic Gaming Store. VTubers kind of do that, yes. There are layers of complexity when it comes to motion capture, and VTubing is extraordinarily simple motion capturing. But it is something that that is motion capture. It does count. It is something you can do, absolutely. I've done that. I've actually shown off VTubing on camera. Yeah, a proper motion rig is easier to set up than you think. Especially nowadays. As I've said before, the barrier to entry for making games and making motion, like movies and stuff like that, has been going down, not up. Happy Thanksgiving, Walker. I don't know if I'll see you this week, but if I do, you're always welcome. Speaking of which, we will not be streaming at some point in time, Wednesday and Thursday. I'm not sure when. I don't have detailed information, which frustrates the ever-living crap out of me. Because anybody who knows me knows I am a very strict, regimented, scheduled kind of a person. So, at some point Wednesday, I'm going to go hang out with my family. And at some point Thursday, I'm going to make a brief appearance at Thanksgiving dinner. And I hate that so much. Yeah, exactly, John. We'll let you know when. Could you tell me in advance, please? Anyway, sorry. Rant off. Thank you, Zaluk. I will jot that down for the Lego Jurassic World. So we need to find Cosmos and Pyramids. Which I don't even know what that is, so we're just going to pretend that it exists. That's just an eyeball that's following us. That's creepy and gross.
Getting saved.
I knew it, Zalok. Pure evil.
Fast travel unlocked.
It also costs currency to fast travel, by the way. Ancient texts. Most of these texts were destroyed after the Great Betrayal. Those that still exist in the real world are approved by them. Tower that broadcasts music, blah, blah, blah. There's a tape inside. Yep, fast travel's a microtransaction in-game. I don't know if that's a gameplay negative, but it might not be a gameplay positive. Also, this isn't fast travel anyways. I hate to be persnickety about terminology, but it matters when it comes to game review. This is a waypoint system. You go to a spot, and it allows you to connect to other spots. Flight paths, to use the WoW term. Fast travel would be, I could open up the map, which apparently I can't do. There we go. I could just open up the map and go, boop, and go there. That's a fast travel system. And the difference between the two is it changes a lot of how the world is structured and what the developer can do with regards to what you have access to and when. We actually talked about this during Witcher 3, for example.
Plus crystal obtained. Plus crystal obtained.
Ha! Yeah, I've been probably dropping too many references today. I've just been in a weird mood. Probably because I'm in a lot of pain. But it's okay, because the drug is starting to kick in. You think whoever did the murder is evil? They have to be, right? Murder is evil, and so on. Yes! Murder is evil, you stupid pseudo-psychological twat.
I have a bad feeling about
Evil
this.
is a worthless trait cowards aside to people they wish they didn't exist. Sponge! Alright, there we go. No, I just slept badly. I forget what it's called, but it's the nerve cluster that goes in between your spine and your neck. Or, sorry, your neck, your brain. And if you sleep in a particularly bad way, the muscle there goes weird. And then that causes some pressure up here in the upper back of the skull. And that's the headache I have right now. So it's actually not a typical headache. It's not, like sinus related. It's not pressure related. It's not allergy related. It's not whatever was going on with my nose. It's specifically because I slept badly. The end. It'll go away over just time and stretches, which I've been doing semi-regularly. So I'm not too worried about it. It just sucks now. It's a hand wave. By not examining why we think of them as evil, we learn less about ourselves and our society. But you're evil. The Syndicate is trying to resurrect a race of alien gods that enslaved man and fought millennia-long wars. I don't think you should be spouting off about evil. I have a holy mission. You know what, Shinji? I agree with you. That's a surprise. I had some time to think in the Idle Lands. Oh man, I love it when people lose their faith. Have a good one, heathen. I thought a heretic was a person who lost their faith. And a heathen was someone who never had it. God, I don't remember.
Ha.
Look at the tower. It happened right here. Can you believe it?
Sure.
Believe what? A horror, a waking horror of this island. It's a carnival of nightmares. It has its charms. You're insane, all of you, insane. You're lucky you weren't got by him. By who? The vampire, that horror, the vampire horror. Vampire killed you? On this beach, a nighttime stroll resulted in gross murder. As opposed to what? Clean murder? When was this? What is time on these islands? We clearly keep track. No one cared. No one believes in vampires. It happened. I can't leave this place until I know there's evidence.
I need to investigate.
Finding evidence is what I do. The horror. The horror! Or I could turn that into an Apocalypse Now reference, but eh. Marlon Brando was on drugs that day, I'll tell you what.
Relic obtained.
One night every month, a lot of jellyfish commit suicide by beaching themselves. It's speculated this is related to the cycle of the moon. Well, there's our actual suicide counter for the night, YouTube. Which I spit upon. Patooey patooey. Okay, this is bugging me. Is it just, like, that quiet? There's just no music. Let's try this. Oh, thank God. I'll take jazz over nothing.
Getting saved. Time travel unlocked. Starlight skins obtained.
Wouldn't it be great to have an apartment with a view of this? Imagine how few problems you'd have. Not how that works, although that's probably the point. Yeah, I tend to forget Harrison Ford was even in Apocalypse Now. He's so young. God.
Blood crystal obtained.
Another we can shed blood thing. Still not doing that.
Relic obtained.
The vampire murders begin. We will be haunted by the vile monster in our ranks. Okay.
Blood crystal obtained.
See, I've got a very simple one, Sophican. I got work to do. I gotta go. Peace. And then I'm out. And if they protest, that's when we arm wrestle. Because nobody can beat me at arm wrestling. At least nobody I know. We do not know what the blood altars do, but I'm not shedding blood for star gods. I'm not that stupid. Jeez. What the crap is that? Can you do me a favor? Is there any speedruns for this game? If so, what's the current world record for, I'm guessing any percent? Of course I have, Ect. I even have a fully fleshed out, in-depth opinion on the topic. Sorry, I shouldn't say that. It sounds like a joke. I really do. I've actually done a little digging into it, because I do actually have a theory about what's going on there. 7 minutes. Wow. Just wow. Six minutes and 7 seconds. Damn. How did I become aware of speedruns? That's an interesting question. So I've been speedrunning since I was a child, but I didn't know what the term meant, right? Like, I used to do Mega Man challenge runs with my friends just for fun back in the day.
Obtained.
And try to push through the game as quickly as we could, and we just have an old stopwatch, right? Nothing fancy. No splits, no other things. The first time I became aware of the concept of the speedrunning community, as it's nowadays known, was in a combination of... Well, okay. Let me phrase this more clearly. I don't remember the specific game, but it was either Metroid Prime 1 or Quake 1. Both of which kind of, if you look at it historically, started the speedrunning community between them.
Plus crystal
Because
obtained.
people started having message boards and coordinating for speedruns for those games, and then it just started branching, right? And that's the exact same thing that happened to me. I started, I was like, oh, that's cool. And someone started talking about speedrunning Super Mario Bros. 3, and I was like, oh, that's cool. And someone started talking about speedrunning, like, Castlevania and Mario 64, and most of the big name ones, right? And that was how I started becoming aware of the fact that there was actual community for it. But it was still mostly at the outer edges of my awareness until I got an incoming call from Crimson Acid. Until 2010, when they were doing this little marathon thing. And I don't actually remember what it was called back then because it was before they called it GDQ. And it was just them hanging out in, what's his name? In what's-his-face's basement. Except that didn't work at first. They had to switch on the fly because the internet connection didn't work. And then they just did like an extremely impromptu, barely planned, just a few people sitting around speedrunning to try and drum up some money for charity just for fun. And that's pretty much the official moment at which I truly became cognizant of the speedrunning community. I was hoping you'd come see me now, lady. Hello, Crimson. You remember my voice, but don't come and visit? I wanted to, but I have no idea where you are. Come and find me in the sewers under the apartments. I have a nice setup there. Why do you... Okay. What are you doing in the sewers? You've been gone for 10 islands. Things change. I'm trading secrets for money. I got things to tell you. For a price. I've got something for Starlight as well. A nice upgrade that'll shine a light on some truth. You're gonna need some firmware upgrades to break into all the Nightmare computers. I got one to sell you. Then I'll take a trip to the sewers. Okay, so this is how AR word moves. Is that recent as of today, Zilok? If so, no. If that's the response that was given last week, then yes. And no, I'm not pulling your leg, but I'll talk about it if it is your desire to do so. So, this is weird. So, anybody who's looked into the latest Pokemon game will know that the core content, the meat of the game, is not only excellent, but arguably some of the best that Pokemon has ever had. I'm talking in terms of enemy design, quest flow, the dynamics and balance between Pokemon themselves, the actual content, the interactions, the cutscenes, all that stuff. Super positive, right? And I've been seeing nothing but that. And then it's a technical nightmare. I've also done a little bit of digging, and there's not a lot of information on Game Freak, which is extremely frustrating. But what I have been able to find out is that they have a very small core developer base, most of whom have been with the company for some time and have probably been refining and working their craft for some time to get better at it, to make this amazing stuff, and then the tech sucks. What that tends to mean, because this is not exactly a new concept, is that there's probably other people who are in charge of implementing things like how to handle RAM cycling, or which process should be run on which pattern, and where we should allocate... I don't remember all the terminology. Games have to allocate slots of information, and they can do it in multiple ways, and designing what and where those do it, and where that information is pulled from. The tech side of things. I don't know what else to say about that. If I sat here and actually looked up the terminology to explain it, this would become a very boring stream very quickly. But you know what I mean by that, right? The people trying to make it so that while I'm doing this, parts of the world are being rendered and de-rendered on the fly. You can actually see it in some cases if you go really quickly. Depending on the engine, of course. So near as I can tell, the people on the tech side of things are not only new, but rotating semi-frequently. This is an idea Dean also mentioned, and one that I agree with. I think he called it a churn and burn, which is a very, very common concept for video game developers in general. Actually, any developer in general tends to have an entire bunch of the company where they bring in new people and then fire them, and then bring in new people and fire them on a regular basis. That's my current running theory for what the hell's going on here. Is that the people in charge of the more technical side of things are doing that, and now if you're asking me why, I have no idea. Because it's stupid on almost every level. There's only one reason to do that, and that reason is it's a little bit cheaper, but only if you look at it in the wrong way, if that makes any kind of sense. Because let's say that I hire Holtbolt, and I'm like, hey, Holtbolt, you're hired. Work on this. And then I keep Holtbolt on for a few months, maybe a year. Then I fire Holtbolt. That way I don't have to pay for any of the increase in living costs or anything like that. I don't have to spend more money keeping Holtbolt on board and happy. I can just then hire Ect. And then I can hire Zalok. And then I can hire Dream Whisper. You get the idea. That's the concept. The problem is it's extremely stupid because of every reason. There's actually an inordinate quantity of reasons. Yes, it is, Evo, on why that's a bad idea. And the most obvious one is, even if you look at things from a purely financial perspective, what you have done is you have created more cost for no gain. Because you may think, well, but it's cheaper. But it isn't, because you have to understand. Most people do not understand this. At a corporate level, at any company actually, any company level, time and money are equal. They're both currency. That's why I always talk about the time budget and the financial budget. So if you spend time to save a little bit of money, and we're assuming these are one-to-one, you haven't changed anything. Nothing's fixed, right? You have not actually cost less money because you've cost so much more time. Every bit of additional time you spend is something you cannot spend that time on something else, something productive. It is kind of like coupon clipping. You're right. So yeah, getting someone up to speed, getting them involved, getting them to know the office, the infrastructure, getting their badge set up for the area, getting their email set up. There's a lot of paperwork that goes into onboarding a new employee, especially at a company of the size and reputation of Game Freak. So they are burning time getting these people on board and then kicking them and then getting them on board and kicking them. And that's just the immediate financial perspective. The obvious problem with this is the exact tech issues we're looking at with Pokemon Violet right now. Because I guarantee you people who are experts, who know what they're doing, who are capable of actually designing this stuff, could absolutely solve these tech issues. You know why I know that? Because I've seen Witcher 3 on the Switch, I've seen Doom Eternal on the Switch, I've seen Breath of the Wild on the Switch, and I've seen Mario Odyssey on the Switch. The tech exists. It's not, I mean, obviously the Switch is not a powerhouse like the PS5 or the Xbox Essex, but it is still more than capable of handling the level of load that is being demanded upon it. It's just not programmed well. Factorio's being a really, I'm buying the crap out of that. Quite a... Like, optimization is thrown around as a bit of a buzzword. But the problem is, optimization is a very real, very fundamental aspect of code design. You have to optimize things like database pulls. Like how, like if let's say you have a database and you go to search from that database, how that search function works can be optimized, should be optimized. If you don't, what the database is effectively doing is going and just scanning line by line until it finds whatever it is you're searching for, which is only going to cost microseconds. But especially when that kind of pull is happening constantly, like in a program, like in a video game, those optimizations matter. I'm sorry, I'm getting way off topic. Point being, those are my thoughts on what's going on right now with Pokemon Violet. I'm looking forward to the game itself. It sounds awesome. I hope they figure out how to patch it into acceptability, because it currently isn't. Thank you, Shadow Machine. I will put that towards Pokemon Violet. A severed arm. Cool. That's gross. And I think you just missed half of my Pokemon Violet speech. Sorry, Ross. Hi, Ross. Oh, that sucks. I mean, I'm not a fan of the SMT series, but... like, if it's not optimized, that really sucks, because I know a lot of people were really excited about that one. And yeah, Factorio can allow for a ludicrous amount of moving parts that are all functioning simultaneously. I know that sounds like duh, but what I mean by that is the program has to keep track of all of that stuff and all of its operations all the time. Even if it's not on screen, it has to know what is happening here, when it's happening here, what it's happening to, why it's happening to that, and that way if anything goes wrong at any level, at any step, it will be able to keep track of that. You could be over here on the map, and the Factoria has to be keeping track of which levers and which conveyors are going at which speed to transmit which resources into which items. That's harder to do than it sounds. In fact, if you ever... exactly, Ross. If you ever pick up Satisfactory, bit of a personal advice, build each of your major factories in Satisfactory on a different land block from the others. You know, in other words, if you make, like, here's your power plant, have that then carry its power over here so that it's not actually trying to load both plants at the same time, because Satisfactory will start to fall behind in optimization if you just build everything in one spot. Ah, it's just another one. Okay. Yeah, Valheim is actually another good example of a game that is deceptively complex in its programming side of things, because, as Europe points out, there's a lot of physics that have to be calculated basically all the time for all the construction you can do. A time to cut the air. A time for monolithic cities. A time for blood. A time for psychosis. That was weird. I now have my thumbnail for the game. Catalyst Touch Perfume. Yeah, no thanks. It has to be a Japanese company. That's a good question. I mean, the only answer there is the core Nintendo development team. Like, everything else is just going to have the same general issues.
Relic obtained.
Bear-chan, a famous dog on the island that saved a man's life. Do I like the art style of characters? No. No, I do not. I'm going to end that sentence there. It's okay, Ect. Give me the reins of Pokemon, and I will show you Poke games, the likes of which you've never even dreamed!
Relic obtained.
Seriously, let me make my gym management game. I've been wanting to do it for years. Nah, I can't do Mystery Dungeon. Remember, I didn't really like Mystery Dungeon. Although... a Mystery Dungeon game which has manually crafted dungeons and actual dungeon design, so we can really lean into the encounters and combat.
Sorry.
When the veil falls and the naked body of crime is exposed, the island begins to crumble. The balance is tilted and the illusion falls apart.
Sure.
Where'd you hear that? Screw you, I thought of that all by myself. You people, every time someone tries something new or tries to better themselves, you tell them to get screwed. Peace! Dude, you're a demon. Piss off. Here are the broadcast music.
Music obtained.
Yeah, I don't know if you saw... Of course you didn't, Act. I got several comments in the video on PMD, Explorers of etc. They were pretty unkind. Like, not toxic. I would get rid of toxic comments, but there were several people who were telling me, no, you're dumb and stupid, Lore, with regards to the ideas
Relic obtained.
of manually crafted dungeons. And that didn't surprise me.
Relic obtained.
People want randomly generated, I say this as nice as possible, boring dungeon design. No, that's not true. That's not boring. It's not. There's no dungeon design there.
Relic obtained.
I know, right, Green Wolf? I don't know what's wrong with me.
Obtained.
I got the dumbest possible comment recently, by the way. It actually legitimately got a grin out of me.
Relic obtained.
The fifth island sequence, The Sin of Silence. Our architect Romeo Silence is deceived by cosmic deceit. Lured into treason against us by a god, he's executed. Silence family are forbidden from ascending to the council.
Plus crystal obtained. Game saved. Mind travel unlocked. Starlight skins obtained.
So, hang on. This is great. I love this. So, I'm not going to list the video because I don't want people to go and send any hate comments, because unlike some people on the internet, I don't want to try and weaponize my viewers. But it was a review. It was a review video. Give me a second. This wasn't even that old. Should be like right here. I should have already seen it. Where is it? There it is. So, referring to me, this guy has extreme game reviewer syndrome, going so far out of his way to disengage with the mechanics. He says things like saying The Elder Scrolls is a good series is hyperbole. Saying you have a dick is hyperbole, and it's nonsense. Referring to me. What's the dog doing here? Woof.
Ooh.
Your
the
name tag says
investigator's
Bearchan.
here.
Is that your name? Woof. You look expectant. You after treats? I'll see if I can find you some treats. No treats for Bearchan. Like I said, the comment got a legitimate grin out of me. I needed that smile.
Relic obtained.
You know, I've been gathering a bunch of stuff so far. I don't think I've found anything that approximates evidence or anything that would actually indicate anything as far as where the case is going.
Ha.
Gazing across an endless cosmic desert, drifting through an abyssal sea, dreaming of an antique summit in a monolithic city overlooking an impossible cavern. All the good stuff, you know? Dude, the corgis in Valhalla were legit. I'm not even joking about that. Oh no, that's exactly what it is, Yura. I actually got a weirdly large amount of hate comments on my video about Last of Us 2, which I find especially amusing since those of you who actually watched that know that I rather enjoyed the gameplay of that game. The story was dribble, but the gameplay was actually pretty fun.
visit the cave.
Will you join us?
Who?
I know. Join our group of citizens fighting for more power. You're a ghost. Just another obstacle put in our way by an abusive and corrupt council. No, you're a ghost. We're fighting to end the corruption and free the workers of the agri-fields and the deep factory. Oh, absolutely, Directy. That was a no-win scenario. Free them? Are they slaves? They are used as pawns in a game of corporate corruption. Spent and used for the benefit of the powerful. We must end it. Are you aware there are no citizens left on the island? I'm still here. Your existence is more of a technicality at this point. No offense. I like that insult. I'm going to remember that one. Your existence is nothing but a technicality. As I was escorted to the ritual slaughter to end this island and bring in the next, I made a vow that if there was any afterlife, I would continue to fight. I guess that's why I remain. I'm here to deliver our message.
Got it.
And what's the message? I have evidence of the corruption. I took it from the factory. Can I see it? I was at the farm when the marshals dragged me to the slaughter. They ripped the envelope from my hand and tossed it aside. Please find it. Okay, yeah,
I
sure.
need to investigate this.
I'm a big fan of running errands for Metaphysical. Thank you. Remember, the envelope is at the farm. Where the crap is the farm? At least I have something to go off of for, I believe, the first time in the game now. Platforming really quick. Why do you think there's so many mysteries? Everything creates a mystery. Human, plant, animal, mineral. Everything creates a mystery. It's a byproduct of existing. Not even living, just existing. Everything produces a mystery we want to solve. Why do we want to solve them? Human nature. Most things are ambivalent about mysteries. Rocks create mysteries, but rock doesn't care about mysteries. And that's why rocks are inferior. Purge the rock! Humans are unique. We need mysteries to live. No, we don't. Without mysteries, we'd go insane. But a mystery can make you go insane. That's the knife edge we walk. Okay.
Relic obtained.
That was approaching a dialogue. Like it's on the same page as a dialogue, I think.
Plus crystals obtained.
Yeah, they keep talking about Island 25. But whatever, I suppose. I'm going to be honest, I sort of turned my brain off about an hour ago. Speaking of which, thank you, FM Aylward. Always appreciate you. Welcome to the Year Club. Thank you for a full year of support. So, the Entropy Center is not a game I've heard of. Do you have a backup? Just for paperworky reasons.
Relic obtained.
Grow statues, grow statues, grow statues. Weird thing.
Recording
I
obtained.
can see it now, I think. These lines, like the air is forming around something weirdly. Like the air is a membrane that something is pushing against. Am I the only one that can see it? I'm scared but elated. Is this a cosmic truth? No, you've been doing drugs. Hey, we could sacrifice more blood. We're still not doing that. Oh, there's been some great obscure games. It's one of the reasons why I'm still cool with reviewing obscure games and not games I want to review. It's one of the reasons why we came up with this compromise, where Walker games always get priority over Runner games. Because I've got a laundry list a mile long of games I'd like to review. So that well isn't running out anytime soon. I think you're right, FM Aylward, but I always ask, just to be sure. Better to ask now than, like, 3 weeks from now being like, hey, FM Aylward, did you Give me a backup because it didn't work for some random reason or another. You know.
Ha.
Unlike O'Brien, I just don't feel safe without a secondary backup.
Keylink
Crane system unlock card. Nice. Do I think this game qualifies as pretentious or just weird? Okay, real talk. Let's drop the facade for just a second. If you put a gun to my head right now, I would say this game is absolutely pretentious. It's definitely trying for something. It's definitely going for a weird vector and incentive there too, and I'm not willing to completely write it off. But this is super pretentious. Maybe wolves did it.
That's weird.
The council murder? Yeah, wolves are crazy. They tear up all sorts of stuff. A pack of wild wolves broke into the council building, bypassed all the holy seal, and told the council apart. I can hear the sarcasm in your voice. I don't like it. I'm trying to help. Expand your thinking. Don't limit yourself. Don't limit myself to actual reality and things that could plausibly happen in it. Wolves don't even exist on this island. Fine, throw it back in my face. What's that? That appears to be a graphics bug. We're just gonna ignore it. Yeah, bingo, FML word. Absolutely.
Blood crystal obtained.
Okay, so let's find where the crane is, shall we? Let's not be water soluble. We haven't saved in a while. Should probably do that soon. Good morning, Golvig. Welcome to... I mean, if it's a plot-critical graphics bug, then it's not a graphics bug, which is actually funny when you think about it. Because it's sort of the problem with some games like this. I've run into this before. I've talked about this with regards to non-interactive fiction, too. You know, like movies and stuff. It's, I call it the trust factor.
Getting saved.
Because the trust factor completely changes how you think of a particular work, right? If you trust that there is a competent and capable writer behind the work you're looking at, then there's a pretty good chance that that little pink thing I saw
Relic obtained.
is actually worthwhile. It actually means something. Because if you don't trust them, then it's either bad writing or it's just a flub, right? 2 Green Wolf 2K. Twice in my entire life. Once was just a couple weeks ago, which is why that's immediately on my brain there. No, yeah, absolutely, Ross. Like, I forget the exact example I like to use, because I haven't actually talked about this concept in a while. But let's say a character is acting out of character on your show. If that character is acting out of character and you have a great deal of trust in your writers, then that means something. That's a hint. That's a detail that's being put there by the writers for you to catch on to and figure out what's going on. If you don't have trust in the writers, then it's just bad writing. That sounds interesting, Don Crow. Okay, so where's the crane? Is that the crane? Not yet, no. I don't actually see something I would qualify as a crane from up here. They do not have a dress code, no. I've never written someone who dresses gaudy, is how I would describe that. Because extravagant can mean a lot of things. There's nothing wrong with dressing up at your work, right? Within reason. But gaudy is a little bit... And, you know, wandering around with golden necklaces that have chains attached to rubies, which are glowing. Okay. So it looks like this was something, because she made a comment of it, and now I gotta get access to the thing. So what is this?
Sure.
You've got to be kidding me. Okay.
Ooh, the investigator is here.
Please don't give me that exact same dialogue every time I screw this up. Okay, that makes no sense at all.
The investigator is here.
Do I care for dress codes? Yes. I am, however, much more lenient about dress codes than most people. Like, if and when I ever actually establish Bellhammer Industries, I will have a dress code, and it will boil down to use your frickin' brain.
Mind travel unlocked.
Like, seriously, I might even describe it in the rules as use your frickin' brain.
Starlight skins obtained.
Okay, so we've got 5 buttons, and we can use them in any combination, and there's no logic to what the buttons do whatsoever. So we are basically trying to brute force this. Any guesses? Look, you can have socks with Crocs as long as you're wearing an outfit on top of it. And yeah, that's another thing. I do expect you to have hygiene. That's mandatory. If you are not capable of properly bathing and brushing, maybe you should consider that there are other problems in your life. Just saying. Bamber says, assuming the time spent is in each is 50-50, would you pick randomized dungeons in a handcrafted world or a procedural world with handcrafted dungeons? Handcrafted dungeons. Absolutely. Procedural dungeons can go straight to hell, but more to the point, the entire purpose of what a dungeon is in almost every genre of video game that exists is to be meat gameplay content. The overworld, there's certainly design to overworld. There's obviously a lot of design that goes into overworld. But the overworld is ultimately a connective tissue between the other elements of the content. And that's the dungeons. So, what other question, Act? I don't see one from you. Oh, you never mind. I didn't answer the issue with Grainfeek being understaffed. What's my proposal to fix this? Hire more people! Okay, in fairness, I know it's not that easy. I do know that there's a lot that goes into that kind of thing. But it's a solvable problem. You know what I mean? It's not like figuring out how to onboard more people and fixing your infrastructure is some kind of mythical fantasy land of infinity. We know how to do this. Proper management practices exist now.
Got it.
Oh, there it is. Am I blind on Pokemon? No, I have no idea what's going on with Pokemon Ballad Story. Not at all. Zero idea. XCOM 2's procedurally generated map. I didn't know XCOM 2 had a procedurally generated map. Most insane fictional drug. Ooh, that's actually a tough one. Most insane fictional drug. I'm particularly fond of Lace Lice, but I'm biased because I invented Lace Lice. So, you know, grain of salt.
The investigator is here.
Would I like to be the President of the United States? No! Hi, I'd like to offer you a job where you have almost none of the power to implement anything you want to do to try and help, fix, or aid, or otherwise just do any kind of good in the world, but also a tremendous amount of stress and a very demanding job that will literally age you about a decade, all while making sure that everyone in the world constantly blames you for everything. No, thank you. I would literally rather be a House representative than a freaking president. As I've said many, many times, committees is where stuff tends to get done. And that can be accessible to a representative or a senator. Both of those are available. Okay, so...
Got it.
I love how every single time it's popping up with a, hey, you screwed it up. That's an interesting question, Evo.
The investigator is here.
That is true, Golvug. And horrible, but true. Go out. Then go down. Thank you. Now, what do we get? A space helmet. Looks like it's been dumped or hidden. Dumping and hiding are separated by a thin line. It smells of Lydia's perfume, lemon and raspberry. Why has she been wearing a space helmet? Okay. You know, I don't even feel like I solved that. I hope it works, Brigwin. Just because, you know, that'd be nice. Thank you, Narset. I do always appreciate. I will put that towards Dungeon Siege 2. Give me a moment. No, I didn't see the resub, Narset 2. Where was it? You wanted to put that towards a rerun of Final Fantasy VI, right? I'm pretty sure that's what it was for.
Relic obtained.
So, it was a plot-critical graphics bug. That was actually one of the first pieces of actual evidence we've gotten in the entire game. Okay, so... Hang on, you're linking me something in IGN. What is this nonsense? Okay. So, this is not what I would call procedurally generated. And I didn't actually read that article in totality. But either the person who's talking about it or the interviewer are morons. Because that's not really what procedural generation is. So that is actually a thing, and it's a decent thing. It's a way to try and vary up the appearance so you're not always looking at the exact same dungeon, even though in practical terms what you're looking at is the exact same dungeon. That's fine, and I actually do like that. It's effectively just a way to cosmetically try and make things varied up, and I've already been this way. And, you know, keep things fresh. Cool. But that's not really procedural generation. So, Evo says, how did Felwreath not get closure? In what way is there no closure to his story? I'm actually confused by that one. It's like asking me, did Frodo ever actually deal with the ring? And it's like, I mean, yeah? Question mark? Let's see here. I have seen a pig in real life. Ignoring the fact that I actually used to work on a farm. In fact, 2 separate farms. There's also the fact that I have been to quite a few petting zoos and otherwise over the years. What's really funny is pigs are a lot like humans. Hear me out for a second. Because they can be either really, really ugly or absolutely adorable.
Fast travel unlocked.
Like, seriously, Google image search cute pigs right now. You'll see some cuties. It is so cute. It's so cute. And yeah, there's no in-between. Just like people. My dreams filled with endless images working at the power plant. A cursed life. The assignment we all fear. Worse than the deep factory. Your thoughts disappear. Replaced by lives you haven't lived. These could be these don't have to be separate lines, game. Lives you won't lead. Lives you might lead. Time disappears. The same day recycled. The same day disappears. My mind broke. A million shards. I can't ascend to heaven without knowing who I am. I just remember my fish tank outside my apartment near the convenience store. I love this fish. Who am I? Goodbye. We'll never talk to that person again. Unless we find their fish tank.
Those crystals obtained.
Why do you assume that, Evo? Explain it, Nate, please. I am very confused. Like, let me ask this question. What is there for him to get closure on? Let's start with that. And we'll move from there. So, procedural generation... We're running into terminology a little bit here. It's a God Hunter. But procedural generation in game design refers to Daggerfall. You know, it refers to a situation in which the terrain and the dungeon and the whatever are all procedurally generated. See you around, Goldhug. Have a good one. So procedural generation, like, let's make this up for a second. Let's assume you're playing a match of XCOM, and you start up a map, and what the map is effectively random. Now, there's a lot of different ways to implement procedural generation. Diablo 2 and Diablo 3 both do what I like to call puzzle piece procedural generation, where they've manually designed a bunch of different puzzle pieces of the map, and each of them have like a different type of code on the lines, on the edges of them, so that this can connect with an A piece, a C piece, or an F piece. And then it'll find an F piece, which can connect to a C piece, which can connect to a Z piece, and so forth and so on. And that'll make a effectively random map. This is why if you play D2 or D3, you'll notice a lot of places look similar, but it's because you're looking at a puzzle piece you've seen before. So, what they're doing in XCOM is, and thank you, Bamber, it's a much better word, is effectively mutators. So, instead of being what you're seeing is the same map, but this trash can's a little bit different, and there's a little bit different color of paint on this building, and there's some debris over here, and maybe there's like an extra wall over here or something. It's just slightly different mutators to try and vary up the appearance without really adjusting the manually crafted gameplay thereupon. Okay, that's cool, Evo. What does he need closure on? I'm gonna keep asking this question until I get an answer. And so one of these days, it's gonna lead to the great Evo and lore war.
Getting saved.
How about the lore and Evo war? That rolls off the tongue better.
Starlight is obtained.
That's a good question, Greywolf. I have absolutely no idea. That's bizarro. Speaking of which, whatever you do, don't ever Google image search cable porn. There's... Okay, so I'm going to ask this question a third time because I don't know how else to say it. What does he need to have closure on? Closure doesn't exist in a vacuum. It's not like I wake up in the morning and then at the end of the night I'm like, do I have closure for that day? No, there has to be something I have closure on. There has to be a source for the closure. And what I'm asking you is, what is the source you are presuming he doesn't have closure on? Like the lore war. Oh, speaking of which, can anyone help me think of like a pun that implies lore and dragons? Like Drake lore or Lord Drake or something like that. Because I'm terrible at naming stuff, so.
My travel unlocked.
Dralor. Dralor.
Starlight skins obtained.
Buzzword usage act, put simply. It's kind of like saying that Diablo 3 has a procedurally generated map. It's technically true, but it's functionally wrong.
Ha!
It's something I see a lot of, which is why I just immediately dismissed it, because there's a huge number of people who like to buzzword when talking about their games when they're only technically true. Or technically correct.
Key item obtained.
Oh, we got a valve handle. That might be useful. I'm surprised we're still running into new areas to explore on this island. This place is big. Oh, Draklor. Draklor Laboratories. I kind of like that, actually. Arshan Drake. Interesting. Yeah, sorry, I don't like to be persnickety about definitions, but I have a very common tendency towards that, which I'll tell you about in just a second. Boop.
Don't
You notice the clouds?
me.
What about them? They break. You see them flicker every so often. This reality is dying. The wheels are starting to come off. What else is going to break? Everything and probably nothing. Something to look forward to. Well, that was a meaningless conversation. So, how precise you need to be with terminology and definitions varies. If I say, to get to the McDonald's, you need to go about 5.5 miles, there's no need for you... there's no need for you to jump down my throat and say, well, exactly how many miles? At what pedigree? In what direction? How many feet? How long? How distance? You don't need to jump down my throat about details, because the details do not matter. It does not matter that my definition is not as precise as possible, because it's about 5.5 miles that way. If, on the other hand, that you're working on an engineering project, and I tell you need to go about 5.5 miles that way, you have every right to jump down my throat and say, well, hang on a second. We need to make sure that this pipe is hitting this exact point, right? And I think the same thing is true when it comes to definitions of concepts and ideas when it comes to analyzing video games and fiction in general. That's one of the reasons I tend to get a little bit irritable when I see people, usually for buzzword and marketing purposes, misuse words when it comes to describing their game. And it's like, well, that's not really a such and such game. And that matters because that determines what kind of game you're walking into and what people expect from it and yada, 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 right?
Recording obtained.
They're watching me. They know I can see the lines. I never see them clearly, but they're there, the watchers. I asked Joseph if he could see the lines. He couldn't either. People in the apartment are looking at me weird. Someone's been gossiping. Yeah, modern gaming journalists. Yeah, exactly. That is exactly right.
Obtained.
So, XCOM 2 with PMD elements. So that sounds extremely horrific, unless you define which elements those are. So let's restructure this sentence a little bit here, Act. So let's say that instead of the dungeon design of Pokemon Mystery Dungeon of Doom, we have the dungeon design of XCOM 2.
Ha!
And all of a sudden what we have is the greatest game ever. Okay, that's a slight exaggeration, but I would be extraordinarily in favor of that.
Key item.
It's another valve handle. That's 2 valves. I bet there won't be a third one, though.
Blood crystal obtained.
So, I'm an idiot. Everybody knows this. But,
Key item obtained.
I have no idea what we're doing at this point. I don't have an objective or a goal. I don't feel like I'm accomplishing anything. I don't feel like I'm progressing anything. I know it's supposed to be an investigation of a murder mystery, but we left that alone the moment we stopped the intro. I am randomly roaming, finding stuff that seems completely disconnected to literally everything. I get that exploration's a thing, but usually exploration carries something with it. That's a key critical point that a lot of game designers don't actually understand. You can't just have a world to explore. There needs to be something to explore in that world. You can't just make it so that you can go over a hill and then, congratulations, you're on the top of the hill. You need to make there be either an item, or a character, or a quest, or even just a really cool vista. This, is none of that.
Relic obtained.
A voucher can be given for 2 minutes of time in a foot bath, rewarded to workers that have exceeded their quota. Why a foot bath, specifically?
Blood crystal obtained.
Or a treasure chest? Yeah. Like, one of the reasons I tend to praise a lot of Zelda games is because they understand that there's more to exploring than just randomly roaming. They also know better than to just have an empty world. There's directions and guidance and flow to it. I should have flushed the drains. I wonder if anything floated up. Oh, hey, I remember where that was. I was over here. What do we get?
That's weird.
What's the tablet doing shoved down a drain?
Sure.
It boots at least.
That's strange.
The login sequence authenticates the user as Lydia. Did she dump this down here? So, just roaming the world, I have found 2 pieces of evidence total. Both of them are about Lydia. Lost message. Sender, witness to the end. Recipient, Lydia Daybreak.
The
Downloading.
investigator is here.
Message from witness to Lydia. The message is blank, but there's an attachment. It's a data key that allows access to a specific nightmare computer. One on the beach, apparently. The code looks like it's designed for remote access rather than a physical handshake. Okay. I feel stupid a lot, Yura. All joking aside, all whatevering aside, I feel stupid often. My friend Gary tends to say that I'm a bit of a perfectionist. And so if I do something that's just made up numbers, 98% good, what I tend to look at is the 2%. You know what I mean?
Obtained.
I try not to do that. I fail at it. I think that's about everything we're going to get here for the time being. As I like to say, I notice every mistake I make, and it bugs the crap out of me. Want to know what I think about crime? Sure.
Hit me.
It's in the smiles, Love Dies. You start breaking smiles, and I bet you'll find the
I
answer.
don't like this.
I'm not into smashing faces. There's a metaphor or abstract or something. Stop being so literal. Break the smiles. We have to break the smiles, everyone. Anyways, hang on. Let me scroll down a little bit here. Thank you again. Zalok is here. Zalok, by the way, for real, the parsing thing with the lines has been such a quality of life improvement. I cannot possibly overstate it. Thank you for that. I think I've shown some of you on stream, or in chat, excuse me, the monstrous blob of text that the QA bot turns into. And having it be something that I could parse each question separately is just, oh god, that's so much better.
Fast travel unlocked.
Save in. So speaking of which, so back to XCOM. Do I think the cover mechanic and flanking should stay? If not, or sorry, if so, anything you could think to make it better? That's a good question. The text color thing would be amazing, because right now I've got the QA bot over there on the other monitor. Because if I have it here, I don't know, I think I'm just getting old, but blinding white screens are just legitimately painful to look at for long periods of time at this point. So I have a tendency to leave the question queue closed and not actually look at it.
Sure.
Which obviously leads to problems. But if I can make it black, you know, dark mode, in other words, that would be awesome. Anyways, so, cover mechanic for Pokemon. Yes, because I think we could play with that. I think we could have moves that ignore cover. I think we could have moves that work better from cover. I think we could have moves that do more damage to someone in cover. And so forth and so on, right? In other words, I think it's a mechanic that we could play with and we could add design to. Actually, I have worked with WordPerfect, and I remember the blow. But yeah, exactly. More interaction with the environment, absolutely. Let's see here. So let's make a theory about this game from Don Crow. How about it? This is a simulation controlled by aliens, and after some period they break and have to be replaced by a new island. That would make so much sense. In fact, that makes so much more sense than anything else I've seen in this game so far. So I'm going to give Don Crow the gold star of you made it work. Telos Principle was another game I thought was going to be weird and wasn't, by the way, while we're on the subject. Ironically. Okay, so there's a computer terminal on the beach. I don't remember where that was. Right, there's no map button. I have to do this. The Dead Zone. Dun dun dun. The Desolation Zone. Oh my god. The Pyramid. The Reality Folding Drive. Okay. Well, we've officially looped the island, so now it's time to figure out where What's-Her-Face is. Although that's actually a computer. Hang on, let's see if we can interact with the computer now. Yeah, I'm not a big fan of the map, by the way, while we're on the subject. So, map. You know, I'm still not sure of what the genre of this game is. Von Falkenstein. I suppose, as with my previous discussion, it doesn't really matter what the genre is. The main reason I tend to care about genres is it's a good way to compare similar types of games alongside each other. You know, if I'm covering a Mario game, it's helpful to look at what I've covered with regards to Mega Man games, because that way I can see what kind of things this game does better or worse than that game. It's direct comparison, right? That's the only reason it really matters to me. Thank you, Dark Leviathan. Always appreciate. Much obliged. Thank you. I will jot that down for God of War 5. I think I'm going to put this under point-and-click adventure so far, because even though this is actually, you know, an FPS, it has the bones of a point-and-click adventure. And it feels similar to that in terms of design and approach and narrative and puzzle design and blah, 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 blah. So that's probably what I'm going to put this under. We've only covered a few of those. Anyways, so let me go back to the question queue over here. Let's see. Zactaf asks, have I heard about Marvel Midnight Suns? Absolutely. Being a big fan of Firaxis in general and XCOM in specific, I'm actually looking forward to Midnight Suns. And I hope that that's a run we could do on camera at some point. So, nope, we're still missing the stuff for that. Okay. Well. Back to this. Exactly. Head-On was, in every way that actually matters, an RPG, and so we kind of counted it as one. In fact, I'm pretty sure I put it under RPGs in my own comparison list. And yeah, PMD is a dungeon crawler. I hate to say that, but it really, really is. A lot of its design and structure is definitely built on that axis. I say that, I hate to say that, because most dungeon crawlers tend to suck. I'm not saying PMD sucked. I actually rather liked PMD, with a few notable exceptions. Just, most dungeon crawlers tend to suck, in my experience. A little bit. Yeah, Trihexia, a little bit. Let's see, next question. I guess that... Am I caught up? I think I might actually be caught up. I super am. Boop. A Warcraft beat 'em up? So just to make sure we're talking about the same thing, you're talking about like a Yakuza style game, or, you know, River City Ransom, or Double Dragon, to use the classic example. Something like that, right? Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, right? Streets of Rage. Fist of Fury, or whatever it's called. Fatal Fury, excuse me, Fatal Fury.
Relic obtained.
If you're talking about that kind of game, that sounds awesome. I'd play the crap out of that. Of course, I actually really like beat-em-ups. So, a Warcraft beat-em-up? Hell yeah. It's time to bring honor to the Horde. Let's lightning! Lightning! Yeah, anyways. Each time you cast lightning, it actually casts from your health bar. Was there another one? I think. Yep, there it is. Boop. I don't know what that does, but we're just gonna start doing that and hope that it does something.
Relic obtained.
Obsequious love letter. A love letter from a young couple. R says he'll kill the moon with a railgun to prove his love to L. Dude, just buy some flowers. Okay, so we're almost at fur boobs here.
Fast travel unlocked.
Oh no, Frodo never actually got closure. That is a true statement. That's why he went on to the Undying Lands. Well, that's true even in the films. But you did finally answer me. Sorry. So, does Felreath get closure for having worked for the bad guy? So this is going to sound strange, but I've never thought about it. Will be my initial answer to your question. But now you've posited it, so now I must think about it. And my answer is, thank you, Diabeepus. I will put that towards the Skyrim block. Do I think Frodo found closure in the Undying Lands? I really hope so. He deserves a happy ending after all the crap he did. So BRPG is a terminology, my own making. Terrible, terrible terminology that I tend to do. But it stands for a Bethesda-style RPG. Which I started qualifying games as because we just kind of kept running into games that were BRPGs. There's not a lot of them, but there's enough, and they all have the same general structure, approach, style, design, etc., that I felt it was worthwhile to go ahead and classify that type of RPG as a BRPG. So, you know, Fallout 3 or Fallout New Vegas or Outer Worlds, probably Outer Worlds 2, stuff like that. God damn it. Time moves differently on the island. I can't decide if I like it. Nor can I. It does things to people. What kind of things? Twists people. Distorts their hearts. Kingdom Hearts. I think that's happened to me. So do I.
Relic obtained.
Made in ex-bourbon casks. Has a fruity taste. Best savored in an enveloping fog. Do not look at the other people enjoying the fog. I've played a lot of dungeon crawlers, but most of them are older games because a lot of dungeon crawlers kind of got absorbed into RPGs. For obvious reasons. Because the two blur a lot, right? Like, there's a lot of
Game saved.
bleed over between dungeon crawlers and RPGs, especially older games. Having said that, a good dungeon crawler off the top of my head... I'd be remiss if I didn't mention Entry and Odyssey, which is probably one of the more long-standing franchises for dungeon crawlers. But you're asking me for a really good dungeon crawler.
Key item obtained.
No, of the Diablos, the one that is most a dungeon crawler is 1, which was designed to be a dungeon crawler. And because they were, honestly, some very brilliant people, they started innovating on the dungeon crawler genre and kind of drifted it into an ARPG. Which is one of the reasons why I don't classify the Diablo games as dungeon crawlers. Because they are rather firmly into the ARPG thing by D2. Oh, that's another one.
Blood crystals obtained.
Ah, wall. Oh god. Oh god. Oh god. Okay, there we go. We can close it. We can close it. We're safe. There we go. Yay. Yeah, honestly, Etrian might be one of the better dungeon crawlers I've ever encountered. I admittedly didn't care for it that much, but that doesn't mean it was a bad game. It just means it wasn't my thing, you know? Oh, this is the footbath.
Oh, I'm glad to be back.
Spend 5 crystals for a footbath. No! That's highway robbery. Footway robbery? Anyways. Went over there yet. There's actually a lot of places I haven't gone yet. Sewer access. Well, I think that's where we want to go. So, Monument to the Moon, a sphere of death that is split in two by a great chasm. What? Okay, okay. I did not know that act. Doesn't surprise me that much, though. Let's see. What is my opinion on Galarian? So, the only familiarity I have with Galarian is from the one Pathfinder game I played. In short, I have no capacity to really give an opinion on it, because I don't have anything with which to base that opinion. So my opinion on Galarian is... Have I played the Shadowrun turn-based game trilogy? Yeah, I played all 3 of them. In fact, I believe I've done a video on all 3 at this point. Why do you look like that?
Crimson acid.
Good.
Good to see you again, lady. It's been too long.
Crimson acid.
Born in the hospital of our martyred goat, England, in AD 1002, under the sign of Endless Moon. As a teenager, Crimson left home to fight for Endless Moon in France. She excelled at guerrilla operations and became known as the glamour of the battlefield due to her stunning beauty and presence. When the Great Betrayal happened, she fled to join the Syndicate. You know what bothers me the most about her outfit? She's got like a giant ribbon, like right here, just below her, actually basically on her stomach, and it's huge. Like it's one of those voluminous things, you know? So it looks like she's carrying around like this thing in front of her. It's weird. Anyways. We're in a dark time. Someone has played a hell of a hand against the Syndicate. It's bad enough to bring the exile back.
Sorry.
You're being blunt,
Don't be
Crimson, but
coy.
the head? Oh, things change. While you were gone, I got blessed by the gods. The new look suits you.
Thank you.
It adds a certain je ne sais quoi to the ensemble. What's the A to the B to C with the sewer pad? Quiet place to get away from everyone. After I became blessed, Montserrat convinced me to be the Syndicate's idol.
Secrets breed
Rose.
mysteries.
Someone for the citizens to look up to. If you pray hard enough and serve the gods best you can, yada yada. That kind of thing. Yeah, I also don't like the texture of her outfit. And you notice it's the same texture on all of it. It's good to have a place to hide away and run my sideline. Everyone needs their own space. How's the market and secrets?
Business is
An
business.
island full of snakes, where everyone's got something to lose and something to gain. Business is booming. She also has the most generic bracelets I can think of. Look, before we get into secrets, I can tell you, we need to talk about your investigation. Judge brought you back from exile. You have authority. You can find any truth. Lady, you're in some deep trouble. Not everyone wants you to punish the guilty. They're going to want you to remove certain players and redefine the shape of the syndicate for their own ends. Be careful with the power you've got, lady.
Nice doing business
So,
with
you want to buy a secret? You can be blunt, interrogate, or let's interrogate. I found a tuft to your hair in K's workshop.
Pride
And?
cannot hide.
That puts you at the scene of a disappearance. Come on, lady, you know how to improve anything. We need to talk,
Business
Acid. You
is
never call me
business.
Acid.
When love dies.
Why was
all that
accusing you of
remains
stealing
are
the
the
key?
facts.
Why was accusing you of stealing the key to the second Holy Seal?
Doesn't add up.
That's not what you just said.
The facts and the truth.
This makes you a
are
prime
not the
suspect.
same.
Spill it.
What do you mean?
I promise I didn't kill the council. I need you to know that.
Got it.
Get on with it. The Holy Seals are the holy grails of secret hunters. They're so locked down and under
I'm
wraps.
innocent.
I was losing sleep each night thinking about them. I knew designed the second seal, so I started talking to him. I also knew he was obsessed with me.
Oh,
Who knows?
More than I expected. I thought he was just horny. But he has gotten into his head that if we achieve perfection on the next island, he'd ascend to a heaven.
Prine is repulsive.
His diary called you his queen in the astral heaven. Good snooping. Since I'm blessed by the gods, he coveted me as a trophy queen. Oh, that's pretty gross.
Secrets breed mysteries.
Guy was out of his mind.
I don't like this.
Keep using past tense. I'm not stupid. If the council got on the bad side of a killer, and the person who designed part of the security is missing, he's either dead or might as well be.
When?
Secrets are dangerous.
Even if he was going to squill. I talked him down. I strung him along in a relationship. I can persuade him to do almost anything. Yes, you have very persuasive... No, you don't. You're gross and weird and ugly. Go away. Except give you the secret of the Holy Seagull. It was a data key he guarded. I took it and made a copy. How'd you
That's
copy it?
strange.
You ask a lot of questions.
I have my ways.
Someone in Masahiro Heavy Industries owed me a favor. That favor was an hour in one of their high-end computer labs. It turned out to be a heavily encrypted digital key on a flash drive. I put the key back on his workshop, apologized profusely, and did something to take his mind off it.
Ooh, the investigator is here.
It's an interesting way to phrase that. Did you use the key?
Money.
No. I know where and how, though. The obelisks on the beach, the key works on them.
Got it.
And that's the second seal
Thank
secret?
you.
No, there's more, but I don't know that. Why didn't you use the key?
What?
Bad vibes. I could feel it in the air. Things are happening on the
Is
island.
this a fact?
This still makes you a
or
suspect.
truth?
I know. Exit. What secrets do you have? Anyone got a motive for last night? Lady, I got a lot of secrets to sell. I can give you a lot of different people's motives. I just don't have an opinion who did it.
The investigator is here.
Who's got the motive then?
Who knows?
Okay, I really hate to bring this up because I don't like staring at this, but her cleavage is drawn wrong. So, obviously there's some shading on the underside, but there should be shading in the middle too, because those aren't one object. Instead, someone decided to blur like the line there, so it looks like it's actually literally one chunk of flesh. In fact, when I first saw her image at a distance, I thought she just had a male chest because of the way that looks. So yeah, it looks like pecs exactly, especially if you just look at it like that. And it's just like, okay. I've got something like there, look at that. I've got something on Grand Marshal, the Architect, the Doctor, the Happy Couple, and the Witness.
Thank you.
Take your pick, but come with your wallet.
Don't be coy.
Any reason you'd kill the council? The island's full of snakes. I hate what the Syndicate have done to me. I'm an idol. They trot out to rally the citizens. I gloss over the misery with a pretty smile. I haven't got anything against idols, but this isn't for me. See you around, Greywall. Have a good one. Also, I hope you're looking forward to your time off. Montserrat developed into paranoia. Sorry to speak ill of the dead, he was tightening his grip on all of us. One of the first things to go on the next island is my little emporium. Dictators can't have someone peddling their secrets, can they? Is that enough to drive you to kill the entire council? No, I didn't do it, but someone did, and they're going to want to shift the blame. That's why I'm being straight with you. You think Henry did it? Do you? I'm asking you. I don't have enough details. How do you escape? How do you breach the seals? The answer to every question seems to be a hand wave and he's possessed by a demon. Convenient answers are dangerous. Oh, Jesus. Okay, well. Why would Akira kill the council? Secrets aren't free. Two blood crystals for each of these.
Good work.
Akiko, excuse me, is a soldier through and through. She's also their leader. They're the only family she's ever wanted. The marshals aren't syndicate, though. They're citizens. A security measure by Montserrat. They don't have our immortality, and they don't get moved between islands. That makes them expendable, too. Precisely. Akiko has endured a millennia of sadness watching her troops die or get left behind. She wants them in the syndicate. Get them gene therapied up and create a battalion of immortal soldiers, and her heartache. She has motioned the syndicate to try and get her marshals inducted, but been refused each time. She's hurting, and she's angry.
Nanny, the hell?
What does she get for murdering the council? She wouldn't be promoted to a position where she could change the rules and keep her marshals alive between islands. She'd use the murder to scare the new council. The Untouchables became touched by the hand of death. Hi. She can argue for increased militarization on the next island. Is that spelled right? Scapegoated on the citizen, and panic at the next council into creating martial law with troops inducted into the syndicate.
Sure.
Use loyal troops rather than expendable troops. Precisely. Montserrat was always scared of immortal soldiers having dangerous thoughts and leading a coup. If Akiko did this, she proves that the threat isn't from the marshals.
Got it.
I have my ways.
I pulled this from the Moon database. You never know when something like this will become useful. There's some evidence. I haven't got proof, so I'm not charging you for what I'm about to say. Akiko falls in love with her troops. That's why she hurts so much. She's had a string of relationships throughout the islands.
That's weird.
She's somewhat special on this island. Yeah, Captain Voth. Is he a dinosaur? Highest ranking marshals are chosen to guard the council during the birth of a new island. So he was murdered last night.
Weird.
Looks that way. So if her lovers are dying when the island ends, her motive is to kill the council to push her agenda through, get her marshals into the syndicate, and make them immortal.
The investigator is
It's a
here.
pretty big bet to make. I agree, something doesn't add up.
Strange.
What about Voth? If Akiko was involved, did she let Voth
Don't
die?
be coy.
A sacrifice for the greater good!
Sure.
I need to find more truth. I mean, I'm going to be completely honest with you, Evo. I tend to refer to Diablo games as just Diablo games. But they are, in many ways, ARPGs, and I don't feel the distinction is sufficient to give them their own genre. Like, so we've got, well, we've got the Diablos, we've got Torchlight, we've got that Greek one I can never think of the name of. And I'm pretty sure most people do actually refer to those as Diablo-likes, but they're all ARPGs at their core. Titan Quest, thank you. So I really just have no particular problem just calling them ARPGs. Granted, ARPG is also a very broad category, I'm not going to lie to you. Yeah, I remember MOBAs. Mobile Battle Arena. Such a dumb name. Oh yeah, Sacred qualifies too. Alright, we got some money.
Business is business. Good work.
Carmelina isn't allowed on the council. The Silence family were barred from ever being on the council. You remember her father's crime, right? Romeo's fall from grace.
Got it.
No, Hades is different. Hades is a rogue, one of the two. He was deceived by cosmic deceit. Bingo. Cosmic deceit deceived him. Really. With promises of power. Standard stuff. Cosmic deceit wanted Romeo to sacrifice Crying Grudge, I like that name, in a ritual. That would give... Oh, yeah, there's also Path of Exile. I don't actually like Path of Exile. I know. That's unpopular. I get it. Just not my thing. That would give Cosmic Deceit enough power to resurrect. Resurrecting other gods is our mission, but not at the expense of deceptions and sacrificing other gods.
Don't be coy.
Romeo was stopped before he could go through with it. His punishment was execution, and the rest of his family from being barred for a council seat for eternity.
That's
The ruling
weird.
still stands. Carmelita's on the throne right now. Judge thinks they made the right call. It's a temporary situation. She's the highest rank outside the council, and we're about to move to a new perfect island that Carmelina designed. Transition to our eternal home needs to go right, and she's best placed to get us through it. Has Carmelina protested the ruling in the past? She's submitted motions to have the ruling overturned, and to get on the council, all have been denied, though.
I have my ways.
Okay, I don't mean to sound complainy, but this is a lot of information being dumped on my face. About 25 years ago, Carmelina went into isolation for a year. No
What
one
the
saw
hell?
her.
Who knows?
She said it was for work, she had a new project, she didn't want to be disturbed. Nothing ever came of it, though. We never showed the fruits of her labor.
The investigator is here.
You know, when you get a bad feeling and it festers, maybe I just need to say it out loud. Maybe it means something. I'll see what I find. So, I believe there is a term for Dynasty Warrior-style games, but I tend to just call them Dynasty Warrior-style games. Similar to the Diablo-like concept. Muso, or Mushu, or however you pronounce that. That's it. I'm going to keep calling them Dynasty Warrior games, though, because I'm stubborn and stupid. Why would Doom Jess? Who is Doom Jess? Mr. Red, you didn't tell me you were in this game. Got the cash to pay for a secret? That's a big one. Sure.
Good.
He knows the original secret. Yeah, Super Mario Brothers is a roguelike. Before the first island during the Great Betrayal, Montserrat made a mistake that got Doom Jazz's father killed. This is before you joined up with the Syndicate. He was our original military general, a legendary soldier. I've always heard rumors about him before I joined the Syndicate. I'm going to stop reading this out loud.
Honey. Thank you.
Eyes Kiwami. Remind me what Kiwami means. Because there's someone named Eyes Kiwami.
That's weird.
Thank you.
Got it.
Okay.
Business is booming.
What the hell?
We're in a dark time.
I don't like.
Nice doing business with you. I have my ways. Secrets breed mesh. Don't be coy.
I don't like this voice acting either. It sounds like it was voice acted by people who don't know how to voice act. I don't really mean that as an insult, I mean that as a statement of fact. Most people, when they first start voice acting, don't know how to do the various levels of emoting and nuance and flavor and tone and pacing that make it sound like normal speech. Instead, they sound like they're voice acting. Yeah, it sounds like they're just doing a job. Exactly, Vigilant.
Got it.
Yes, I have Act, and he does a good job of it. The more recent Zero voice actor is actually pretty legit. Same guy who voices, Nero, I believe, from the recent Devil May Cry. I could be mistaking it. I'm gonna read that part out loud. Witness believes we're heading for the end times. How can we have end times if our gods are dead or dormant? Only a handful of gods came to Earth. The rest of them are out there. The gods are self-serving morons. They never looked out for their own kind.
Don't test me.
That's strange. Don't be coy. Thank you.
Sure, we'll upgrade our computer. That's going to cost most of our money, but
Thank you.
at least we roamed around for some purpose.
Ooh, the investigator is here.
Key item obtained.
I'm tired of violence, Act. Why do Reploids fight each other?
Install complete.
Well, now we have Cosmos, and I don't remember where the Cosmos stuff was, unfortunately. I don't remember what Caesar sounds like in New Vegas, because I think I've only talked to him once in my entire life. Because he's Caesar, and he's in the
Relic obtained.
Legion camp. And there's only one thing I do with Kaiser's Legion. It usually involves cheating infinite ammo, invincibility, and a flamethrower. This is a work of art. The integrity of the Syndicate is the canvas, the knife is the brush. Is it modern art, abstract, formal? Who can say? I always hated art. Anyway, gotta run.
Relic obtained.
Love dies. We have the suspect in custody. You are not necessary. A suspect which escaped on your watch and possibly murdered the entire council. Nino Rosito. Maybe the disgraced Grand Marshal can work with the disgraced investigator? Investigator Tassi Naibi Dingura. We have a suspect that was found with the murder weapon. He has motive and history. He was found with the council's blood in his stomach. We're not making a super collider here. Henry broke free, tore through the prison badge, breached the holy seals, murdered the council. Case closed. Got it. She's the murderer. Inhibitors are injected in to keep him sedated. Go ask Doom Jazz if you want to know more. I am guarding the suspect at the Desolation Cell on the Rock if you need to speak to me again. Control panel to raise the bridge has been updated to accept your blood vial. Only I have access to the prison, but Judge ordered me to authorize you. The bridge across the bridge is on the South Beach. Goodbye. Cute. Hi, Rodisvik. Welcome to Drugs. I hope you're a big fan of drugs. If you're not, it kind of sucks to be you, because this is Drugs the game.
Music contained. Plus crystal obtained. Plus crystal obtained.
Fine. delicious. Too delicious. Dangerously delicious. Delicious.
Dead Nebula thanks you for your purchase.
What am I looking at?
Please enjoy your cold, refreshing beverage.
Dead Nebula monitors the drinking habits of all inhabitants of the Paradise Islands, be they syndicate or citizen. For security reasons, we need to analyze your voice pattern. Please say the following
Dead
phrase.
Nebula, more refreshing than a cosmic apocalypse.
Dead Nebula, more refreshing than a cosmic apocalypse. You've gone
I
soft.
have a bad feeling about
Supposed to be a
this.
valued customer. It's been a long time. The old lady loves would never have trotted out a corporate catchphrase. Exile has an effect on people. What brings you back to the island? Council mass murder last night.
No way.
We thought something was wrong. We got down to the last of our stock and no one's refilling us. The island can't end until I solve this case. How's it feel to being back on the
I was
beat?
born to investigate.
The Idlelands are no place for an investigator. We feel you. Nice to see the investigation freak again. You got the inside scoop for me? Any weird drinking habits? When that demonic possession happened a decade ago, we sold a lot more sanity. Sanity. People like protection. Does it actually work? Does anything? Listen, you're one of the good guys. We want to help. You keep buying drinks, we'll see what we can do. There's a broken vending machine in the warehouse. Someone jammed something in it. We think it may be an upgrade for Starlight. It's going to take some time to get the machine rebooted.
Buy more drinks.
Which is code for buy more drinks. The island's hot. I'm sure I'll be thirsty. That's a spirit. Oh, welcome to Angmar, Mr. Red, one of the worst zones in the game. I'm your host.
Plus crystal obtained.
Ha!
I like Carmelina's dog. It's the only thing I do like in this island. You're breaking my heart. Don't get the wrong impression. You're near the top of the good part of the
I'm
list.
glad to be back.
You made my day. Don't patronize me. You're the one being a dick about it, so I don't know what you want from me.
Plus crystal obtained.
Ha!
Yeah, sorry, spoilers. You're in what is often considered the worst zone of the game. Have fun! I don't know any details, X, so I can't give a commentary on it. I feel like I said that a lot lately. But it's true, I don't like to comment on something I'm ignorant of. I'm not a politician, in other words.
Plus crystal obtained.
So, a common misconception
Relic obtained.
about the concept of a coffee thing, you know, the coffee label, is that some people think that coffee merely refers to something I don't like. But actually, coffee refers to something that I have the intellectual ability to acknowledge is actually quite good. It's just not my thing. So, giving this the coffee label
Relic obtained.
would mean automatically presuming that this is a good game that I don't enjoy.
Ha!
Yeah, unfortunately, that sounds like I'm saying this game is bad, but actually it's more like saying this game isn't. This feels extremely vacuous, and I kind of do mean that as an insult. One thing I am absolutely going to give this a tag for, there we go, is pacing. I'm almost assuredly going to give a negative pacing to this game, because it's lurchy as hell. Everywhere you go, there's the hum. The whole island hums with something. Is it dread? No, maybe. I think it's secrets. They take on a life of their own. They become tangible. Secrets cause dread. Maybe. No, yeah, exactly so.
Obtained.
It was admittedly pretty funny early on. And that was about 3 hours ago. That's not fair. 2 hours ago.
Blood crystal obtained.
Ironically, one of the most well-constructed things so far, I would say, is the overall design and layout of the town. You know, the island that we've been navigating. But, ironically, I also think it's entirely too large for the relative lack of traversal mechanics we have. We have a generic jump, we can run, we take no falling damage. That's it. Otherwise, we're just kind of roaming. Hell, I wouldn't be surprised if we haven't even covered half of this island in terms of, you know, exploring everything. So something else about coffee. Oh, is coffee not my thing because of the caffeine effect of the taste? Entirely the taste. The caffeine thing is much more recently in my life, whereas I've never liked coffee. I mean, yeah, it's bitter, and yeah, it tastes like unholy death, but the fact of the matter is that coffee is just not to my liking in terms of flavor. That's sort of the point. The original full phrase was, it doesn't matter what you do to a cup of coffee, I'm still not going to like it because it's a cup of coffee. This is usually said in relation to people who would always use the common counter-argument of, well, you just haven't had good coffee yet. Or, you haven't had coffee with the right flavorings added yet, and so forth and so on. And the answer to all of that is a big fat no. It's still coffee. Hence the point. Honestly, one of the other things I thought about calling that was alcohol. Because no matter what you do to alcohol, I'm not going to like it because it's alcohol.
Travel unlocked.
But saying this game is alcohol to me doesn't really work quite as well, and it kind of has different connotations.
Starlight is obtained.
But yeah, I've had the coffee argument and the alcohol argument. Well, since before I was 18, let's put it that way. Acid. I'm not into acid, true. That's a true statement.
Travel unlocked.
I don't think she'd like it at all for exactly what you just said, Zactap. I don't think Shepard would be involved with that kind of thing. Too much of a military purist to try and think that turning soldiers into killing machines, regardless, is a good thing. Military is supposed to be an ideal.
Blood crystal obtained.
Yeah, it's funny. I was trying not to say that, Holt Bolt, but let's just say that every time I mention that I don't like anime, someone immediately jumps on me and says, "Have you seen such and such?" Trying to come up with an anime they think I'll like. Like, 90% of the time that happens. Can I ask you a personal question? It's been a while since I felt this particular kind of stomach-churning dread. Where did you take a dump in the Idlelands? I didn't see a toilet up there.
I have a bad
You
feeling
don't need
about
to.
this. Sure.
You get put in a kind of suspended animation where certain bodily functions aren't needed, but you're still fully conscious.
I have a
So you're forced to have eternal solitude without having the luxury of a good bathroom break. Man, I hate the Syndicate. Hell, I have rap songs I like. I can't stand rap. Although, nerdcore is best core, just saying.
Relic obtained.
I have no idea what these relics are or what they're for. They seem to be connected to nothing whatsoever. They're certainly not evidence like some of the things are. You met that Yuri creep yet? He seems like a bad time, a real bad time. Spineless, though, you know, Chief? Like, could that sack of crap actually kill the Council? He's got a secret, though, you can tell.
Oh.
I try not to get harsh about it, though. I'm just tired of it because I've been dealing with it for 30 years of my life. But I don't... I get that most of the time when someone is like, oh, you need to try coffee, drink, anime, you know, whatever thing here. They're not doing it because you're being a dick. They're just doing it because they want to share something they like, right? They just want to share enthusiasm. Because we all want to share enthusiasm. It's kind of the nature of being human. I know exactly what that feels like. So, I try not to be a dick in return, because as much as I'm tired to death of it, I get it, right? Hell, I wish I could talk more about speedruns or tassing, but nobody wants to hear me just go into that. And it's one of the reasons why I try to keep my economics talks to something that's actually relevant, rather than just going off on the natures of how compound interest and its function as a nature of a debt-fluid society is something that probably leads to an overall net negative on human existence and blah, 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 blah. You know, I don't want to bore people with that.
Relic obtained.
Lounge in the pool for a bit. This is the worst pool I've ever seen in my life. Look at this thing. This has got to be a foot deep. What is the point of this? Even if this was a heated pool, this would be extraordinarily uncomfortable to relax in. Negative for the terrible pool. Yeah, that's... What is that crap? I mean, I guess I could... So you say a kiddie pool. This is like a baby pool. Not ironically, right? Like a pool where a kid can sit upright and have their head above the water. And when I say a kid, I mean like a 2-year-old. So I guess I take it back. There's a purpose in that pool existing. I'm sure all the kids in this town appreciate it.
Relic obtained.
I think they're just straight collectibles. I mean, they're developing a little bit of the lore of the setting. But when I say the lore of the setting, I mean this place was designed by somebody who's on drugs. So I hesitate to use the term world building, like I normally would.
Crystal obtained.
The rain here is a blessing, Love Dives. The island's too hot. Heat makes people crazy. Why can't you fix that? The Syndicate runs this island. The miracle there isn't a slaughter every day. It's the reality folding drive. It kicks out a nuke's worth of power every second. Fix it. Take it out with Masahiro Heavy Industries. I don't deal with customer service. Just make it happen. I'll catch you later. So the island's hot because the reality folding drive is putting out a nuke's worth of energy every second. Okay. Enjoy the end of your workday, Grigoris.
Relic obtained.
Get some enjoyment in.
Blood crystal obtained.
Ha.
I missed. What makes a butterfly abnormal? Just look at it. If you can't tell, you weren't meant to know.
Sure.
What the hell is Moon Studio Act? Ah. I want to see if there's a walkthrough for this game. No reason. That's true. Somebody's got to build the moon up there. But careful, there's a secret AI inside, right? And it went super crazy and tried to kill all humanity like a few billion years ago. Well, there's an AI, there's an IGN guide. So we know that'll be worthless. What do we got here? Oh my god. Okay, we'll get back to that. So yes, I have Ect. Unfortunately, of course, I have no evidence on the matter. So that's just sort of whatever. Huh. This game has multiple endings. Interesting. Okay. Well, sure. What's with... God, I hate this place so much.
Crystal obtained.
Um... I... See, ironically, when I see something that I mentally translate as noise during Dauphine, it tends to completely de-invest me in the game in question. And weird is definitely, you know, this kind of particular off-the-wall weirdness is absolutely something that tends to de-invest me to the point where I'm just like, okay. As I mentioned earlier, I sort of stopped paying any particularly large amount of attention pretty early on.
Blood crystal obtained. Relic obtained.
Yeah, no offense to everybody who likes it. I can see why. It looks like a bit of a chill, you know, run around, grab things game, and the fact that there's multiple endings implies a lot to me.
Relic obtained.
In fact, it makes me wonder if this is one of those games where there's not actually one culprit who did it. There's probably multiple possibilities of who did it, depending on how you go through the game. Sort of a not quite retroactive continuity thing, you know?
Relic obtained.
Hey, Majdi. Thank you, as always. Yeah, this feels like Talos Principle if you were to swap the puzzle solving with exploring, you know, roaming around and grabbing stuff. First game I remember did multiple endings thing. Well, the first one that comes to mind immediately is Breath of Fire 2. There's probably one before that. Even if I think about it. Majdi, if you want to put that towards something in particular, please let me know. The Witness. Now, I actually really didn't like The Witness, but there's two reasons for that. One is the ending, which can go straight to hell, and the other is I'm not particularly good at puzzles. Breath of Fire 2 does predate Chrono Trigger, I'm fairly certain. Don't quote me on that, though. I don't have Google in front of me. I know I played Breath of Fire 2 before I played Chrono Trigger, so one way or another, my answer doesn't change because I encountered it first.
Fast travel unlocked. Starlight skin obtained.
But anyways, do I enjoy surreal fiction? Not at all. Surreal doesn't work for me. It literally doesn't work in my brain, if that makes any sense.
Crystal obtained.
I look at surreal and I'm like, okay, so what is it really? And in many cases, that's exactly how my brain tends to process surreality, is by affixing something more logical and adherent on top of it. 4 months, wow. Didn't realize it was that close.
Blood crystal obtained.
Oh, I'm sorry, Evo. That is one of the downsides of interacting with other people. Joims. Sometimes I just feel defeated, you know? How do you pick yourself back up? On my planet, there's this musician I like. Creates music that takes me away to another place. That sounds nice. This conversation's about me. Whatever, I'm gonna smash some bottles. Okay. Now see, ironically, I don't enjoy turning off my brain in general, so I don't seek out such a state. However, I do enjoy certain turn-off-your-brain forms of entertainment. The thing is, a lot of those are actually well-crafted. Like, some real thought and effort and design is put into them. You may look at something and say, well, it's just a cheap action flick, but a lot of people put a lot of time and a lot of thought into explosions and stunt doubles, presentation, lead up, build up, payoff. You know, and yeah, to put it into the game perspective, Broforce is not exactly a game, a stupid game, right? It's not a game that was thrown together. It was a game that's well crafted to be a turn off your brain entertainment game. And so as a consequence, I don't really turn off my brain for turn off your brain games. I know that sounds bizarre, but you know what I mean.
Relic obtained.
I think I've never had that type of tea. In Maicha? Genmaicha? I'm not sure how to pronounce that. No judgment intended, obviously, Durandolphian. It's just... I've had my brain turned off for me before, because I've gone in for surgery at multiple times in my life. And it's an extraordinarily unpleasant experience for me. You know what I mean? And I don't particularly enjoy it. I know that may sound like a different thing, but it feels a lot the same. My brain doesn't work. That's exactly how I feel right before I pass out, right? Like, as the transition is happening between being awake and then being knocked out for the surgery, that transitionary period sucks. I hate it.
Blood crystal obtained.
2001: A Space Odyssey is a perfectly understandable, logical game that has no surrealism whatsoever, until you get to the ending, which can go straight to hell. So I suppose I would say yes. Hold bold at that point. I feel like I could talk to you all day. What's on your mind? Everything, nothing. You know how it is. Feeling quite relaxed.
Got it.
You're the only one on the island. That's why you're in this situation. Too many people take things too seriously. They don't think about others, just their own advancement. That isn't how a perfect society runs. You don't get the attitude and charming personality unless you come from a place where everyone in the government is looking to scapegoat you for their own cruelty and screw-ups.
The investigator is here.
No time to chat. Things to do. Bye. Sure.
Fast travel unlocked. Starlight skins obtained. Game saved.
Do I enjoy abstract art? No? I'm trying to think if there's any exception to that, but I can't think of anything off the top of my head, so I'm just going to go with a hard no on that.
Relic obtained.
Ever watched Contagion? What's it about? That's a really generic name. Worst Mario level ever?
Nightmare computer.
1-1.
Sure.
Okay, that's a lie, by the way. Yeah, 1-1 in Super Mario Bros. 1 is probably the best stage in the entire game. When we finally do an audit run of Super Mario Bros. 1 in the Mario 2D block, it's likely the only stage that'll get its own individual positive.
Nightmare computer unlocked.
Sure.
Don't mistake me, I can enjoy a chill game as much as the next person.
Analyzing.
It's just the distinction is that my brain doesn't shut off during the chilling. It's just working on other things. If anything, the value of a chill game for me is to do something while I am thinking. Or chatting, or whatever. That's a good thing, right? Question mark. So, 1734, witness enters. Carmelina arrives, witness mothers are in. God Justice Marshals arrive and secure the building. Witness and Carmelina exit. Witness returns. That's it. Well, Witness and Carmelina have alibis. Yeah, no, ironically, Super Metroid is actually a really good example of a chill game for me, but that's entirely because I know it that well. A lot of Mega Man games tend to be the same thing.
Game saved. Relic obtained.
Where? Got it.
Okay. But
I need
sure.
to investigate this.
I like how that all that text was just describing the nature of what a ghost is in the traditional sense of the word. AKA
Fast travel
unfinished business, still sticking around as a collection of memories. I don't think I can do Super Metroid blindfolded. There's not a lot of
Starlight skins obtained.
anything to go by there, so probably not happening.
Plus crystals obtained.
Probably not, Ross. Again, it doesn't matter how good you are at something if you have no audible feedback. If you have no feedback at all, there's only so much you can do.
Plus crystals obtained.
Like, if you don't know where you are in the level or in the map, it doesn't matter how capable you are at the game, because you don't know where you're jumping. That's one of the reasons why there's actually such a small category of games that can be blind run. Blindfold Punch-Out works because Punch-Out is at its core a puzzle game, and there's always ways to reset where you are in the cycles.
Relic obtained.
Okay. Yes, Evo? I didn't realize you were away. You said, do I enjoy abstract art? I said, I'd rather die 1,000 deaths screaming before I understand or appreciate abstract art.
Plus crystals obtained.
Yeah, Ocarina of Time works as a blindfold game because of its sound design. Also, Ocarina of Time has patterned movement, which means if you do, this, and this, and this, and this, you will always move an exact space. There's no variability to it. There's no randomness to it. Oh, the Fel Wreath. Right. Yeah, I had that like forever ago. But, so, okay. Let's rewind to that. Hang on. That was an hour ago. Alright, so it's kind of like a grid. The thing is, Ocarina certainly is not designed on a grid. It's just the movement in the game is very much on a grid. And that's kind of the point. I'm explaining this wrong. In a lot of games, if you do an exact input, the movement and the positioning of what you do can change. It can change based on terrain, it can change based on equipment, it can change based on just randomness. Red Dead Redemption is probably one of the more obvious examples of that, but there are plenty of games like that. In Ocarina of Time, if you put in the exact amount of input, there's no variability. You will move X. Hell, that's not even true for LTTP, the SNES one. Because LTTP actually has variable movement speeds based on a couple of variables, which I only know about because I've tasked that game.
Plus crystals obtained.
And there has to... Subpixels gets involved in that too, because in many cases LTTP's random movement speed is because of things like subpixels, which by definition tends to lead to some randomness when it comes to calculating where you are, because it has to decide whether it rounds down or rounds up, and so forth and so on. I'm not going to bore you with the whole specifics. The point is, Ocarina doesn't have that. So what game could I confidently do a blindfold speedrun on? None. However, there's one game I would feel confident blindfolding at all, and that is actually Punch-Out, and that's because I have played Punch-Out. In fact, I've gone up to Bald Bull in Punch-Out blindfold. And I'm pretty proud of that, legitimately. I don't think I'll ever beat Bald Bull blindfolded. I would have to actually put in some practice runs to do that. Is this the end of the Syndicate? Thinking out loud? How the hell should I know? They're your people. Now piss off. Nice guy.
Buy more drinks.
You reunite.
The investigation freak.
You're the famous investigation freak. Your outfit is awful. Everything. Everything about what I'm looking at is awful. First of all, you've got the Romulan shoulder pads, which are just terrible. Second of all, you've got the poofy things going on your sleeves, which not only look bad, but look uncomfortable. Then there's the hat, which combines all the worst elements of two different types of hat designs. Plus you got the flowers, which are draped off to the side for some reason. Then You've got the weird, like, collar thing going up way too high on your neck, which is also uncomfortable, consequently. And then you've got this asymmetric thing going on with this one random loop of gold that looks like it doesn't even fit on you.
The investigator is here.
Fury Knight.
Secretary to the Architect, Fairywoman's Handler. Born in the Marble Chambers on Island Sequence 15 under the sign of the Dire Rose. Yuri is new to the Syndicate and has quickly risen through the ranks.
Pathetic.
Can't believe in our darkest hour, Judge called on you.
The investigator
I understand you're
is here.
secretary to Carmelina and Lydia's handler during her Fairywoman duties.
You've got nothing
Did you
on
manage to deduce that?
Oh, I'm glad to be back.
worthless.
Be a good freak. Get Henry prosecuted, and then you can disappear back up to exile.
Oh,
You're convinced it was Henry?
What business is
Obviously, I
it
can only
yours?
aspire to your level, but I think it's pretty clear.
What do you want?
Let's get to business. What do you want,
the
freak?
facts and the truth are
No
not
mention of
the
grieving
same.
for our loss.
Oh, so
Grieving is a sign of weakness. Only pathetic mortals would dare indulge in sorrow.
insufferable.
So this guy's a snot. So I'm gonna read this at my pace.
Insufferable. Yes.
That's weird.
Freak. What?
Who?
Insufferable.
Don't test me. Oh, I'm glad to be back.
Nonsense.
What the hell?
Don't be snide with me.
Why?
Pathetic.
That's strange.
The investigation freak.
So he thinks if it wasn't Henry, which it's obviously Henry, and his reason for thinking it's Henry is because Henry was arrested. So he's a normal, person in the internet here in the United States. But if it wasn't him, then obviously it's Carmelina. By the way, at this point in time, we've actually already proven that Carmelina has a hard alibi and wasn't there. So
Where?
his testimony is he was with her.
Sure.
Don't make me laugh. Freak.
Crime can...
What?
The investigator is here.
No.
The investigator is here.
You've got nothing on me.
So all of that was us saying, give us your phone so we could verify your alibi. And him saying, no. And then her saying, you're an idiot. I have jurisdiction and authorization. Give me your goddamn phone. And he's like, fine, whatever.
Got it.
No.
That's...
What business is it of yours?
So we mentioned that Kux is probably dead. He says, and he's probably sleeping off a hangover. And we say, isn't a missing syndicate member something of a concern for one of the people responsible for getting the syndicate off the island? To which he says, I can only work with what I have. If he doesn't want to be picked up by the fairy woman, I can't help it. Then we say, no concern or sympathy, to which he says, what do you want from me? I can't care about everybody. It's exhausting.
Insufferable.
What the hell?
Don't be naive, freak.
Got it.
Freak. Worthless.
I've done my research. I know you and her go way back. The drinking gang. Bunch of drunks and freaks.
Worthless. Huh?
Got it.
Freak?
Sure.
How dare you? Don't be snide with me.
Okay. Nice guy, really. I mean, here's a question, Evo. How many of them tell people that they're a judge? I guess that's true, Evo. I don't know. I've never thought about it. Or, to be slightly more accurate, the possible permutations are so extensive that it would depend on such a case-by-case basis that I've never thought of any template for it. So, I've never thought about it. The only way I can decide what a particular judge's personal life is by designing that particular judge and their personal life.
User contained.
I mean, sure, Act. If you want to argue that ignorance makes for competition, I would actually agree with that.
Time travel run
But
roll.
let's be very clear, that is ignorance.
Game saved.
Well, no, I'm being serious even. There's no template for how someone's personal life is going to be just because of the fact that they have a job, right? That's true for any job, never mind being a judge. That's like saying, so, hey, Lore, you know, what do you think being in charge of air traffic control does for someone's personal life? To which I'm just going to look at you weird, because I've never really thought about it, because the answer is not applicable. It affects them or doesn't affect them entirely based on them, and the people around them, and where they live, and how much they're into their job, and how long they've been doing their job. Maybe they just started it. Or maybe they've been doing it for years. Maybe they're having relationship troubles. Maybe the relationship's actually stronger because of their job. And they understand the severity of what they do. Maybe they don't have a relationship at all because of their job. Or maybe that has nothing to do with their job. Or maybe they've decided to get a cat because cats are awesome. Now, if they're cops, screw them, because cops are evil. But, other than that, obviously it doesn't matter.
Blood crystal obtained.
That's what I mean when I say I haven't thought about it. It'd be more accurate to say that I've thought a lot about it. One of these days I do need to sit down and design your judge for you, though. Yeah, cats are cats! There's nothing else to add to that. Alright, where's the power plant? Well, the Switch is a handheld console. The Steam Deck is a handheld laptop. That's the distinction. It is a fairly large distinction. It changes what kind of games are available to, or are produced for them, or what you can do with it, or whatever. The great power and benefit of the Steam Deck, really, is the fact that it is a convenient laptop. Now that's awesome, and it is a great laptop, but that's what it is. Now, the biggest downside of the Steam Deck is probably the fact that if you were playing a game that is not designed to be played with a controller, then it sucks to be you.
Relic obtained.
I've actually tried out quite a few different types of games on the Steam Deck, many of which were not designed to be played with a controller, and by God does it show. There are certain games that are just actively a pain.
Item obtained.
We have dog treats now. Where was that dog? Oh God. Anyways, I've played quite a few games on the Steam Deck that were not designed to be played with a controller, and they suck. In fact, one of the more common pieces of advice that is given is go ahead and just buy a mouse and a keyboard to work with the Steam Deck in order to play those kind of games. Which, again, goes back to that whole laptop thing.
Starlight skins obtained. Blood crystal obtained.
I mean, options are great. I've got a blue and a green one now.
Obtained.
But, I guess I don't have anything else to add to that.
Relic obtained.
I've actually mentioned this a few times. The only value, this is just personal, the only value the Steam Deck has to me is as an emulation box. It is fortunate then that it actually has tremendous value as an emulation box for me. That's something I can use to play emulated games for the next several decades. And that's awesome. But that's not what the Switch is. The Switch is a console. The Switch is there to play Mario Odyssey.
Nightmare computer.
Speaking of which, comma, plans for Thanksgiving? Question mark. No, I would agree that the Steam Deck is easier to turn into a emulation box than the Switch. Uh, 13, Evo.
Nightmare computer unlocked.
I could, but why would I want to? It would be an inferior experience at that point.
Relic obtained.
I mean, honestly, no judgment if you prefer the Steam Deck to the Switch. That's cool. People have preferences, and that's how life works. I would rather play a game on the Switch than a game on the Steam Deck 10 times out of 10.
Relic obtained.
I'm guessing these are backers. What makes a good killer?
Got it.
Passion leads to mistakes. If someone survives being killed, you messed up.
Got it.
You can kill it like it's the most routine thing in the world, you make a good killer. What about not getting caught?
Investigator is here.
You think he'd disappear and make it too ridiculous so you would have been involved. You think there's someone like that on the island? If there wasn't, I wouldn't be here. Right. Honestly, the controller is legitimately and unironically that good, in my opinion, yes.
Nightmare computer.
I say that without hyperbole. It's actually funny, I've gotten a lot of flack for my preference for the Switch controller, and I don't care anymore, because I really do prefer it that much. It is a game-changing controller, especially as I get older. But yeah, that's actually a good way to put that. The Steam Deck is for there if you want to do your own thing, which is cool. And I'm in favor of that. I've got nothing against the Steam Deck. The Switch is there if you want to play the Switch.
Nightmare computer unlocked.
Oh, they absolutely were, Ross. No question. Oh, I know where this is. Ironically, this is actually where I was going, too. Holy crap. It's a weird coincidence. I'd like to say I did that on purpose. I knew exactly where I was going.
Getting saved.
See, I don't blame you, Act. It's just, if you asked me, I wouldn't say the Steam Deck or the Switch are superior or inferior to either, because they're not. They're just different things that do different things. Having said that, if I could... I've put very serious thought into buying a second Switch and custom firmwaring it and turning it into an emulation box. Because being able to play emulators with this would be game-changing for me. Is that it? Maybe it's over here. Does anyone remember where the foot massage place was? Or the foot bath place? I feel like it was around here. And I sure hope so, because I've been deliberately trying to come to here to find this. By the way, hi Raven King. Sorry I didn't say hi earlier. Would I get an OLED? Maybe. I know that sounds strange since I'm not, you know, I'm literally playing on an OLED monitor right now. But OLED's kind of a bonus points thing for me, you know what I mean? I didn't get this monitor because it's OLED. I got it because it has incredible response time and has a large monitor and has a good refresh rate. Like that was the requirements for me. The fact that it was OLED was just on top of all that. Maybe it isn't actually down here. I will say there's one thing I adamantly do not like about the Steam Deck. And this is probably going to oust me a little bit, but it runs Linux. I'm not fond of using Linux.
Music contained.
Like, I can beat my brain into Linux. I have. I've worked with it professionally, and I did get my Steam Deck set up the way I wanted to. But every time I do, it's just pulling teeth, you know? Because Linux is wonderfully customizable if you know what you're doing. It's a great double-edged sword, really. Do many judges renounce their powers? So... Linux's philosophy. I mean... Judges renouncing powers. So I've never actually written a story where a judge actually renounces their abilities. I haven't even decided if their abilities go away or not. I'm still debating that. Kind of, Spartan? There was something I was looking for here, which I'm not seeing. So I think I'm in the wrong area. Or I'm remembering wrong. I want to check up here really quick just to be thorough.
Blood crystal obtained.
So what experience do I have with detective mystery games like this? I don't think I've ever played one before. So, unless you count Ace Attorney, which I super do not, I would say none. Yeah, I know. I haven't fully decided yet, Evo. The idea is judges' powers self-propagate. A judge selects the next judge. So any given judge would, by default, be, you know, handing their power off to the next judge. The catch is, I haven't decided if their power sticks or if they go away. And yeah, the Return of the Obra Dinn is awesome. And honestly, I praise the crap out of that game. I highly recommend you play it. But that also doesn't feel anything at all like what I'm doing here. This feels like a completely different genre from the Return of the Obra Dinn.
Blood crystal obtained.
Hell, this feels more like it's in line with Spyro than Return of the Obra Dinn. Ah, so forgive me, Grigoris. I'm referring to my own setting, the extant. Judges is a concept, a job, that exists within that. Ghost Trick was a puzzle game. A very, very fun one, I might add, and one that was a huge hidden gem, but still, again, not this. Ow, 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 ow. That's weird. Just suddenly pain. Ugh. Have I played Danganronpa? No. I have not only been advised not to play that, but when I looked into it myself, I said, yeah, that's not my thing. And yes, I know this game was inspired by them, according to the developers. If it goes away the moment of hypnosis, then there's always a set amount of judges in the world. So that would be true, yes, Evo. And that's why I'm still not sure if I want to go that route with it or not, because that would offer the possibility of there being... Like, if anything ever happened for any reason to an existing judge, that would mean that the number of judges can never go up, but can go down. And I'm not sure that's something I want to introduce into the setting, so that's why I'm still debating. Since, so, are you familiar with Danganronpa?
Ha.
Being, you know, creepy and weird and, like, honestly, kind of triggery.
Blood crystal obtained.
Like, it is super vetoed, and that's never going away, because in addition to friends who've actually played them, who have advised me not to, I have also looked into it myself, and yeah, no thank you. Big, big, hard no thank you. Not trying to say they're bad, just trying to say that they are extremely not me. To the point of hitting the veto marker.
Relic obtained.
I cannot find this stupid thing. What? Sorry, one moment, please. Sorry, Lore Mum telling me about her plans for Thanksgiving. Oh no, I'm writing. I've been working on the extant for quite some time, and I am writing it down. I've actually started
Getting saved.
working on a I've started working on a wiki for it. It's been extremely slow going because, believe it or not, that takes a lot of time putting those together. Go figure.
Nightmare computer.
Would a judge pass their powers to a person who would not be happy with them but would still do good at being a judge? That's a good question. So, hypothetically, yes, if there was no other options, but the thing is, Galaxy is a big place. There's probably other options.
Nightmare computer unlocked.
This is all in-game music, yes.
Sure.
So, who entered the Syndicate HQ last night? One route to the Council building and involves going through Syndicate HQ. If Henry did escape and kill the Council, he'd have come through here.
Connecting.
Ooh. The
Architect Carmelina left the HQ early. So did Yuri. Doom Jazz didn't leave his clinic.
Analyzing.
That's strange.
Henry hasn't been logged coming through this gate. This is the only way he'd get to the Council building by himself. Okay, that's interesting.
Blood crystal obtained.
I mean, absolutely no offense about this, Bragwin, but from what you've told me about your family, I think it's probably a good thing that you're just not doing a big Thanksgiving event.
Relic obtained.
That being said, I do hope you have a good Thanksgiving. Maybe get some, you know, just something local. Ha! Foot bath, finally. You know, get to get some ham, slather it with maple, maybe some pineapple. A big old thing of mashed potatoes. Yes.
Sure. That's strange. That's weird.
Double jump unlocked.
So now we have double jump. God, that's such a pathetic jump.
Blood crystal
But we
obtained.
now have a double jump. So, yay. And now we have red, blue, and green. We're ready to beat Mass Effect 3. Okay. I'm sorry, I'm gonna go and ask in ignorance. What is tri-tip? 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 COVID's still a thing that happens. My uncle has it right now.
Music obtained.
And someone else, I forget who, but I know someone else who has it right now. But the problem with my uncle is that he's just had started recovering from brain surgery. So, bad time to have any kind of illness. Wait, I'm sorry, what? A fissure in an obscure galaxy inhabited by a race of psychic lizard people.
Blood crystal obtained.
I still wear my mask, but honestly, that's because I've been wanting an excuse to do that for years, and now I have one.
Blood crystal obtained.
See Japan, Spanish flu, if you want to know more about why. I am happy that people stopped looking at me weird for doing it, though. That was a little frustrating. Yeah, ditto, Durandolphine. I got a couple. I have the custom one, of course, that Savacom kind of already has, or has a similar design to. Yeah, when it first started, people were honestly kind of weird about the mask thing. Like,
Key item
insulting. But that's pretty much entirely died down. At least where I live, I should clarify. I also happen to have moved in that time period, so...
Key item obtained.
People around here are much nicer. Those people may have died, you know? Ahem. You know what I find especially weird about people being weird about the masks? By absolute definition, if you're wearing a mask around someone, you know, that kind of mask, you are being polite. Like, by definition, you are doing something for their sake, right? The fact that anybody ever found that objectionable is bizarre to me.
Game saved. Starlight skin obtained.
So who are you?
Halt!
I don't know about you, but when I get a sword, I just do this all day with it.
This is a restricted area.
I don't like this. Don't test me.
Step back before I make you step back. I only take orders from the Grand Marshal.
I have a bad feeling about this.
Cute. And yeah, the reason people got objectionable about masks was because it was turned into a political issue for no good reason. I said this very early on during the beginnings of COVID starting to spread, but none of what was happening surprised me is because I've studied history. So, for those of you not aware, people turning a virus that is a new virus that's spreading into a political issue happened with the Spanish flu. It became a goddamn political topic. Which
Game saved.
is one of the dumbest things I've ever heard of in my entire life. And I study history. Yeah, there were anti-maskers in 1919. And they were just as stupid then.
Blood crystal obtained. Relic obtained.
Okay. Oh yeah, that pandemic makes COVID look much, much less bad. Just... oof, that was... Yeah, look at the numbers sometime for how many people have died to which plagues in history. Spanish flu was a big one. Like, scary big. It's kind of messed up to think of how recent that is. That's messed up. Yeah, exactly, Ross. Anyways, sorry, I didn't mean to drift into such horrible topics. It's just... you know... here we are. I've actually wondered before how many different diseases would be much, much worse if we were dealing with trench warfare during a particular outbreak. Because, obviously, you know, the Spanish flu... I hate that name. The Spanish flu was really bad, but it happened to be happening during some trench warfare, and those trenches were disease factories. Just perfect conditions for viruses to grow and spread and mutate. Just... oh. Oh, absolutely, Ross. It's something that... I know this is going to sound strange. Obviously, I have the opinion that history should be taught more and people should be more aware of it. But I do think certain specific elements in history need to be taught more than they are. Because I think that some of the lessons of those specific elements are relevant now. Such as the big influenza outbreak of the Spanish flu. Such as Spanish flu. That is something that is currently relevant.
Relic obtained.
So, anyway, sorry. Getting off topic. Or, I guess I'm not, since there is no such thing as a topic here. Okay, so hold on. The 19s. So they're out there, which I can't reach them. She's over there. She might be able to get me to them. I think it's over there. There's another ghost. There's a lot of ghosts. There's the dog. I can go give the dog the treats. Oh, I know, Ross. That's why I hate the term Spanish flu. It's indicative, though. If you say Spanish flu, people know what you're talking about pretty much immediately. Like, even people not familiar with the totality of that story are familiar with what Spanish flu means, right? So, that's one of the reasons I keep referring to it as that. Ironically, I think I agree with you, Dakota. I've actually been sitting about here and thinking about what to do as far as reviewing this game. So far, I am extraordinarily unimpressed on the gameplay axis. Like, this is, it's not great. But a lot of effort and care was done into designing this city, and that does need to be notated.
I'm glad to be back.
Relationship increased. There's a relationship feature?
That's weird. Got it.
Blood crystal obtained.
Okay. Well, either way, I need to be eating lunch at some point. We're already 10 minutes into my lunch break. So,
Game saved.
let me go ahead, jot down that doodad positive I was just talking about. Find it. There it is. And I'll see you in a bit.